is Della Show, and you're listening to DisArmed at the Armory Club in San Francisco.
Boys, my man Curtis sure came through for us this time, did he, man? I'm annihilated, you know?
And gentlemen, giants and wee people, this is Dilla Show. I'm here with my buddy Bonobo the Clown at the Armory Club, and we have a very special guest tonight, San Francisco's own photographer, artist, singer, songwriter, ne'er-do-well, online firebrand,
clown.
Sinister villain slash
clown.
Nazi is lately.
Nazi. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Merkley, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. To get started, I wanted to tell everyone what just happened to us. We were kind of shanghaied into outside to see Merkley's new van setup, which for those of you who probably don't know, unless you know him, he's got a giant piano inside of a van with giant speakers and a giant, what would you call that podium? Podium, speaking podium.
It's kind of a pulpit.
And he is an actually really talented, proficient piano player and singer.
Did you not think he was?
No, I knew he was already, but I never saw him in person. I saw he posted some stuff online.
Well,
and
I wasn't
like,
before. I only started really playing piano about 2 years ago.
I didn't even know that.
So that's kind of a new thing.
Yeah.
I realized that you can learn things even when you're old.
Are you old?
I'm old. I'm 51. I think once you're over 50, you're old.
Are you two are the same age with the same birthday?
We have the exact same birthday, but when
what month?
Are you older or younger?
No idea.
No, you were born in June. You know what
I was 67.
Yeah.
I was born in 67.
66.
Oh,
1 year older.
Oh, I thought you were 51.
You're like my senior.
Well, I feel 51.
I have to respect you now.
Stay that.
Sorry.
Nature's first green is gold.
I was born in the summer of love, dead center in the middle, because June 13th is like the middle day of the year.
Where?
It absolutely is.
Summer of love here.
No. Where were you born?
Oh, Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Really?
Yes, home of the Calgary
I'm gonna learn a lot
Stampede.
tonight. I thought your story was a basic overarching meta narrative, if I wanted to pigeonhole it, called Mormon Boy Goes Sideways.
Well, kind of. I mean, I was born Mormon in Calgary. My ancestors were sent to Calgary. My ancestors came across the plains with the Mormons as they were continually kicked out of every city because they tried to turn every city into a Mormon communism.
That's not such a popular approach.
No. If you go into a city and kind of overwhelm it and go, oh, and by the way, we're communists. So, you get kicked out a lot. So they got kicked out and they went all the way across the plains. And then my ancestors
They were Canadian.
No. But my ancestors got sent north.
That's all right.
Is that me being loud?
No, don't worry.
Okay. My ancestors got sent north to settle Canada. So a lot of my ancestors are in Alberta, Calgary, and Edmonton. There's a lot of Merkleys up in that area.
And how'd they end up in, well, obviously they're Mormon. That's how they ended up in Utah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My parents.
When you were little?
They immigrated. They're both Canadians, but they immigrated when I was like 16 days old.
Really?
Is when I moved to the United States. So
no memories of Calgary.
Well, we went there for summer vacations and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I never lived there for any extended period.
Have you been back recently?
Man, I have not been back since the great grandparent die-off of 1995.
I remember that great grandparent die-off.
At the beginning of 94, all my grandparents were alive, and then by the end of 95, they were all dead.
I went up there.
They all just, it was like a suicide pact or some sort.
I went up there to do a gig, and it reminded me of, it was like the Canadian Denver, I felt.
Right. I think some people say it's like Houston, Canada's Texas.
Perhaps.
Alberta.
Yeah. I haven't been to Houston, at least not since I was a little
It is
kid.
an oil state, you know.
Yeah,
so
that's right. They do have a lot of oil.
And the Stampede being the big thing. Cowboys.
So you were raised, though, in Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, all around. We moved every year, but always within Salt Lake City. So I lived in every neighborhood, every suburb of Salt Lake City, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty, trying to get a behind the scenes, pretty middle class existence.
I would say lower middle class, because my parents were divorced before I could remember them being. I never remember them being together. I think they were divorced before I was 1.
Gotcha.
Right, but I maintained a relationship with my dad. He would come and get me every weekend, and so it was always, he never left the picture. But my memories of my family is that I had my dad's family over there, my mom's family over here.
Not uncommon.
Pretty cool. I actually thought it was really rad. Because I had separate lives, you know? It's
it works.
And I didn't ever have to witness them fighting, you know?
Yeah.
So I had separate relationships with them both. I wouldn't say it was ideal, but I don't think it's a bad thing. It's kind of cool, actually.
I think it's closer to ideal than not having that the case.
I'm
in that situation.
It might be better than having parents that don't want to be together that fight
Absolutely
continually.
better.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it turns out that it works across the board. You and Mel should think about getting divorced. Because you have two sets of parents.
We've thought about it.
Assuming both sets of parents are on top of it and they're into their kids, right?
Right.
You have two sets of parents directing the course, sharing the responsibility. The parents get more time.
I think that's true. I think it's smart.
Takes a village kind of thing. And
Also, 2 houses is kind of good.
You've just doubled your largest.
You are, and there are 2 neighborhoods, two
existences,
groups of friends. Yeah, it really is interesting.
What were you into as a kid? What type of kid were you?
I was a really good kid.
Like in terms of academic, or?
Well, I had older stepbrothers who were bad kids. Like, in other words, they got in trouble. They broke the law. They did drugs. They smoked pot.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that stuff.
They stayed out late.
Yeah.
And sometimes would beat people up for no apparent reason.
Have you ever beat somebody up before?
No.
I don't see that happening.
I'm the biggest wuss in the entire world. It's totally true.
I am not doubting you.
I use my word. I use words. I can talk myself out of violence if I see it coming.
Kung fu, we call it.
As long as I can see it coming, I can talk my way out of it.
Yeah, you can't always see it coming.
I got sucker punched once here, and I didn't see it coming, so you can't do much about that.
Yeah.
Getting sucker punched.
But you can outsmart dumb.
Well, you can just talk people out of it.
Right.
You can just explain what's going to happen. Like if somebody gets upset and they're in your face, you can go, listen, I just want to explain what's going to happen here. You're going to punch me. I'm going to fall down. I'm not going to get back up to fight you. People will come to my rescue and you'll be hauled off. That's not really a deal you probably want to be involved with.
You're like Spock. It's also rational.
Their anger goes, that makes a lot of sense. It's true. I don't want to
rumble around.
I don't really want to punch somebody who won't punch back. And if I know you're not going to punch back, then yeah.
Right. They're doomed.
They're kind of doomed.
And they don't think about that.
Yeah.
The kind of people who are going to attack you, typically, are going to be drunk dudes.
Yeah.
Right? And they're definitely not thinking about outcomes.
Do you get attacked, Bo?
I've had it happen a few times.
In contemporary times.
And it's a confidence thing, too. Plus, I have anger issues, So, like, if I actually went off, it's going to be a contest.
You throw this whole table and the whole rig and everything.
Yeah.
Fuck this podcast.
Absolutely berserk.
You're like a silverback.
You're Irish. You look a little bit Irish or English.
He's not Portuguese. He tells everyone that. I don't know. I can't stop. Anyway.
How do you even know that?
Because I did your 23andMe.
No, you didn't.
How long have you guys been friends?
We met about 2003. We weren't really that close. We just saw each other at parties.
We don't like each other. We're just doing this.
But we started producing Trapeze, the party that we did for years, still doing. And that was around 2011. Actually, but we had been coming and going and rubbing elbows in the scene for even years before that.
Yeah.
So,
but we started hanging out considerably more and traveling together.
It was a necessity.
That's where you find out if you can stand.
You got to share a commode. That's when the real rubber meets the road.
And when you guys when you travel, you don't get in fights. You enjoy each other's company.
No, we just save it for the podcast mostly. Enough about us. This is about you.
Well, hey, I'm curious. So
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
this is all totally open-ended.
For a long time. You and I have known each other for a long time.
How long have you guys
known? We've never really hung out, so we just know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did you actually go to that party, by the way? That
one time where we were supposed to have a birthday party? Yeah, I went. Did you? Were you not there?
I was there. Way too much of me was there.
Yeah, you were in a clown outfit.
And the whole thing went all lopsided. I was hoping they.
I actually brought my brother-in-law. He surprise visited me there, and he was. Because I got out of Mormonism.
Preface him. Tell him what you're talking about. What was the event?
It was a party. It was a birthday party.
Merkley and I shared
we have the same birthday.
Okay, and you had a birthday party at the rickshaw stop.
And so he and Lee sent me a message saying, "Hey, we're having a birthday thing at rickshaw." And I go, "I go to rickshaw. It's my birthday too. So why not? Why not join in on the fun?" But I brought my brother-in-law with me, and he was kind of like getting out of the church. He was just kind of like the Mormon church. Yeah, he was questioning things. And so that very night we had a lot of really good conversations about it. And then that was kind of one of the things that...
So you were like, well, let's continue the conversations, but first let me show you a little birthday party here in San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
How was he with the whole thing?
What the party?
That like walking into that.
It was fine. No, I mean he's a musician. He's a good singer songwriter kind of guy. So he's not like
he wasn't
narrow. He was never one of the latchkey Mormons or whatever. He was.
So then I'm surmising then that you weren't either. You were, for all practical purposes, a pretty straight up American boy kid.
Kind of, and I lived the way I survived in Mormonism is I just kept it really simple. I just kept it. I avoided the doctrine, and I just kept to the basic Christian: be good to each other, be nice,
sure,
don't be a dick. And so, if you stick with that kind of stuff, you're doing all right anyway.
Right.
You consciously thought of this as a kid?
I don't know if it was. I don't think it was consciously. No, because I flirted with swearing.
What?
I was a swear. I had friends that weren't. I always hung out with non-Mormons.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What was your first swear word? Do you remember?
Oh, I remember. I told my friend to fuck off with he threw a race car at me or something like that. And
that was your first.
This was like when I was 4.
You went straight to fuck off.
Well, it was the F word. I don't know exactly, but I remember he threw something at me or stole something from me. I can't remember what it was, but I chased him into his house. He lived in the cul-de-sac. His name was Todd, I think. Todd Morris, yeah. And I chased him into his house, and he got away from me or something, and I said, "You fucker," or something like that.
So where did you get, as a Mormon, assuming you're hanging out with Mormons frequently, where'd you
Well,
get
you still hear that stuff. I mean, non-Mormons live around.
It's pop culture.
Todd Morris used that word. I probably learned it from him. You know what I mean?
Or Morrissey.
Yeah.
Were there adults around who heard you say that?
Well, I didn't know, but so I walked back to my house, which is only about 4 houses away. And when I get into my house, my mom's got a jalapeno pepper, or I think it was a peppercini, and a glass of milk. And she's like,
shit.
when you're a little kid, peppers are fucking terrible.
Yeah. Well,
She's like, well, there you go. You can you can drink the milk or eat the pepper. You can do whichever one you want. Wait.
What?
I had to eat the pepper because it's for swearing. That was my punishment.
But what did the milk have to do with it?
Milk is supposedly what you're supposed to.
But she gave you the option of you drink the milk.
Well, yeah. If I drank the milk first, then I'd have the burning pepper in my mouth.
But you had to do both.
Yeah, I had to. I didn't have to have the milk.
That's fucking barbaric.
It was kind of a nice thing
on your mom's part.
But anyway, I do remember that being that was a big event.
Milestone.
My big first swear word didn't go unnoticed.
And what'd you do? Did you drink the milk first?
Oh, I can't remember. Honestly, I probably pouted and tried to make her feel guilty. I probably tried to do some Jedi mind tricks and make her think that she was abusive. I was a really manipulative kid.
You didn't call her fucker.
I remember one time I got smacked for something, and so in my mind,
Merkley.
Yeah, for the rest of the week, I would shudder whenever my mom walked by. I would wince, but I was doing it intentionally to make her think that I was afraid of her.
And that you were how old? Was this right after the fucking
I was probably about 10 then. I was learning how to be a manipulative.
Learning the ropes.
Yeah, that's when it happens.
Yeah.
What I've seen out of kids, 9, 10, right in that thing.
I don't think she fell for it, though.
They start flipping flip it.
Great. I've got a lot to look forward to.
You're
Yeah.
fucked.
So then you become an adult,
You're gonna be
and then
six.
how'd you get to San Francisco?
Well, I went on a Mormon mission because I was a good boy.
You were out there on the bicycle,
Yes,
Wow.
down in Brazil.
proselytizing.
Yeah.
In Brazil?
Yep.
Is this true?
Yes, absolutely.
The image of that. Right
I can't
now.
believe
love
I
it.
did it. I still honestly, I paid my own way, paid for it, went for 2 years, lived with random dudes that got assigned to you, each for like a few months at a time.
Is it a 2-year stint?
2 year stint? Yeah.
Fellow Mormons, though, are putting you up.
Mormons,
Yeah.
Same age, basically. Yeah.
That's
Some of them good, some of them terrible, but what a
does
weird
that mean,
thing.
though? What does that mean?
Well, some of them you get along with, and some of them you
Where
don't,
in Brazil?
you know. Sao Paulo,
Wow. So
Yeah.
total urban.
very urban.
Yeah.
Went from really nice areas on the beach to really super, like this air right now we're having in San Francisco.
Sao Paulo.
I see everybody with their masks, and I go, dude, this is like every day.
Everywhere else.
But you know, I lived for 6 months in this area called Belém, and the industry there was cookies. It was like a cookie factory, so the pollution was cookie flavored. It was
Brazilian cookie
That's
flavored.
amazing. If we could turn this into
Yeah.
cookie flavoring,
Yeah.
right
You
now,
would
the
picture-
shit that's
you-
Like a
going on
Dr.
here,
You'd
Seuss
have these
machine.
giant black boogers, but you look at them and you go,
They're
those are
delicious.
cookie boogers.
Brazilian cookie boogers.
That's right.
So going into it, did you know Portuguese going into it?
No, the Mormons have this training center called the MTC, the Missionary Training Center, and they give you a 2-week crash course, right? But then, and it's apparently pretty effective. But really, it's just because people are you're going right into people's homes. And if you believe you have a message that will save their lives and their eternity, that's really the
Tell them in
motivating thing.
English.
Oh, yeah. But no, Mormons learn languages pretty fast because of that. Because they're literally going into people's homes and teaching
That's
them,
fascinating.
communicating with them.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. That was fun.
You got to have your people
this
skills
is kind
if
of
you're
an
going
ignorant
to.
question. But why Brazil? What happened?
They just call you there. You don't know where you're gonna
Who's
go. The church. When you turn
Is there
on,
one dude who says
There was a long time ago.
It's probably
How do they do it?
It's probably just like a lottery. It's probably just a computer spits it out. Honestly, it's probably just random choice.
But it's a Mormon computer.
Yeah, there you go. Blessed Melchizedek computer. It's got this.
So you go to Brazil, you come back, you're like, you know what? I don't think I'm cut out for this.
Well, you know what? I was cut out for it. I thought I was cut out for it because I came home and then I moved into a neighborhood that included BYU, Brigham Young University.
Yeah.
And I was pretty good at teaching because I stuck to the basics.
How old are we here?
This would have been, I was 22.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was teaching Sunday school and my classes got really populated. They got more popular. You're not supposed to have a popular Sunday school class. Everybody's just supposed to go to their own that they're assigned to.
Are you saying universally or Mormons wise you're not supposed to?
You're just supposed to have your own that you go to. You're not supposed to switch and go to somebody
It
else's Sunday
shouldn't
school
be
class.
a
In the
popularity.
scheme of
Like
Mormons, you're saying?
they have wards, kind of like Catholics have parishes. You have wards, and you go to the Sunday school class in your ward, right? But my Sunday school class was getting a little bit more overpopulated because people were coming because I was being a little bit more entertaining, and I was sticking with the basics. I wasn't
Did you
getting.
have that van?
No. But I did look like I was a
Did you
member
look like
of.
this?
I looked like I was a member of like Alice in Chains or something.
I've seen some early
Yeah.
pictures you posted of yourself young, and it's
Yeah.
pretty impressive. Yeah.
But it was a controversial thing at BYU because I wasn't a student at BYU. They have these codes where you have to shave and you have to have haircuts a certain length. But since I wasn't a student there, but yet I was going to a BYU ward because I lived in those boundaries and I was a teacher, it caused kind of a ruckus. Like even in the paper they were writing about it. Who is this guy with long hair that's teaching Sunday school? It was like people had
So you were
opinions
always
about it.
kind of the village Nazi.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. Well, I was the village Jesus then.
Sort of. Yeah, it's a fine
Well,
line.
Jesus
fine
is
line,
obviously
fine
a Nazi.
Line. Yeah,
obviously, obviously Jesus is a Nazi.
So you
isn't
thought
he?
you're cut out,
He's a white
and then
guy.
and then what
He was.
happened? You're going with it. You're buying the party line.
I was going up the ranks. So during this kerfuffle, somebody from the presidency of the church had to interview me to find out what was going on.
Yeah.
And I was honest with him, and he vouched for me. He was like, "Hey, what you see with Merkley is what you see is what you get." And he's
Somebody in the
honest.
church.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then they put me on a fast track to kind of go uphill and go. They gave me a calling, which was a rare calling, which is to teach teachers how to teach. You know, and it had an ending to it, like 12 weeks, teaching teachers how to teach, right? And so I did that for 12 weeks, but then I got in my mind, I thought, I've never played devil's advocate on this thing because I've always respected the scientific method.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm already seeing the ship sort of veer to the right.
That was the moment right there.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I've never played devil's advocate.
Little milestones.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so the way I did that was, honestly, I thought I was going to come back more prepared. I thought, well, this will make me the greatest defender of Zion in the whole world.
Yeah.
I'll have all the dirt. I'll
beef up
know
your
how
chops.
to.
Yeah.
But I picked up this book called No Man Knows My History, which is a biography of Joseph Smith, written by a granddaughter of one of the other Mormon prophets. And so I was one chapter into that book and I was done. Like the first chapter, I was like, oh,
Done with what?
Mormonism.
Really?
Yeah, it made so much more sense. Her real history.
So
of
was
his real-
it like a tell-all kind of book?
Well,
or
not
was it
really.
Supportive on
It was just really this is what happened. That's what it does. The Mormon history that you're fed when you're a Mormon is that, Joseph Smith was a special guy. He went out to the woods. He prayed. God and an angel appeared to him. He had these special things. But when you read what actually happened, you realize that story evolved over time.
As they do.
That didn't happen when he was 14. Like in a small town like his, you would have known if some kid was talking about God. But the first time he appears in any records of the city or anything is that he got arrested for conning people out of money by finding water and minerals on their property with one of those.
Joe did.
With seer stones, where you put stones in a hat and you look into the hat and then you can see where water is on a property.
I didn't even know about that.
So he was kind of a con man, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of knew that part of it, but I didn't know those specific details about.
It's a really good book, whether or
Yeah.
not you're a Mormon or not. It's a good book because, Mormonism is a really heavy contender in the world. It's one of the big religions, and it's an American religion
What's
the
that's
name of the
pretty
book?
recent. No Man Knows My History.
No man knows.
Yeah, but it really shows you how you can start a lie and then you have to back it up and back it up.
Yeah.
And then also, I think even more important than that is when things start going well for someone, it's easy for them to go, well, maybe I am chosen by God. Because why are things going well for me? Like Prince, I think, had the same kind of God complex.
Prince, the musician?
Prince, yeah.
Gotcha.
A guy, Lenny Kravitz has it. It's a God complex. You feel anointed because you can't understand why you've been given
Well,
so much
don't you think
success.
some of that, so that's kind of a celebrity component, right? I mean, everyone's waiting on you hand and foot,
Well, I mean,
and all of a
there's
sudden
some-
that goes into
but
your
I don't think it
interior.
affects everybody like that.
Not everybody, but
I think
it is
one of the best theories that
Post Malone.
this woman puts forth in the book is that had Joseph Smith lived in a time where his creativity and his thoughtfulness could have been channeled into the arts, he probably wouldn't have gone into the religious route. He would have had an outlet.
Yeah.
But since that was the whole thing at the time anyway, everybody was talking about the
Those were
American-
the tools available.
Yeah. They were all digging up our artifacts and trying to explain where they came from, and they could never admit that they were from regular old Indians because they were
So
savages.
he was big time when he was alive. Then this isn't like a Jesus story where the mythology kind of proliferated
No,
afterwards.
he had success.
Yeah.
Like he started a religion, a cult, but also that a lot of that was happening back then because America was this new place.
Yeah.
And they'd left over there. They've left Catholicism. They've left the or those churches, whatever they were,
Anglican,
Episcopalian stuff. So everybody was starting new churches.
I would definitely start a new.
It was a rage.
If I came to the United States of
and you've got the frontier
America,
as
Yes.
a kind of an open palette.
Frontier,
and let's make up our own metaphysics.
Yep.
And I'll be the center.
Yeah.
and
The
now
world's your
everything-
goddamn giant oyster. By the way, No Man Knows My History is paperback is $16.95 on Amazon,
That seems expensive.
or you can get a used for $3.89,
Yeah.
or
Paperback.
on
come
Kindle
on.
for $2.28.
Yeah.
$2.28.
But honestly, I was one chapter in and I was done with Mormonism. By chapter 2, I was like, all right, atheism is
That
fine
was
with me.
it. That threw you.
yeah.
That
I'm a
chapter-
quick learner.
That flicked
No,
the
but
switch.
I'm saying that literally,
oh, yeah.
reading that, flip the switch.
I can't
Flip
say
the
that it was
switch.
easy. I mean, it was easy for me to flip the switch to go, all right, this is bullshit, I'm done. Because the whole thing hinges on whether or not Joseph Smith's story is legit.
Right.
And when Joseph Smith's story falls apart, then so does the whole
His
thing.
name's fucking Joseph. This is what's always thrown me about Mormonism,
Mm-hmm.
is that a guy with the name Joseph Smith, it's so absolutely vanilla that it might have a possibility of being super special like that.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
Joe Smith.
Well, white people on the frontier, they were all named Joseph Smith
Yeah,
at that
exactly.
point.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
pretty common.
Yeah.
like
yeah.
the uniformity of
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense
Yeah.
in terms of it makes sense with gurus and that type of thing where they have these crazy long names.
Bri Hare Ranyaka Upanishad
Whatever.
Shankara.
Yes. That kind of thing sounds special. Joseph Smith.
Well,
It's
I mean,
beautiful.
look
Bob
at
Clark.
Yeah.
Charlie Manson. You know, another great example,
Bobby
common
Addy,
name.
American sportsman.
Or P.T. Barnum, L. Ron Hubbard, kind of a similar scenario.
No, it's a
Not
little
really.
bit crazier.
I don't know so much
L.
about
Ron.
him. L. Ron.
He starts with an L.
Okay,
was
so
L,
he's already
you know?
going into like a hip hop thing.
And he's way after. But those guys, I think, really took a lot of cues from Mormonism. Actually, they
of
just
course.
they
Yeah,
honed
that
them
too.
and they
Yeah.
focused on a certain demographic. They knew they could rein in.
So the switch gets flipped.
Switch gets flipped.
You move.
I get bitter because I'm like, what the fuck? You
Yeah.
guys know that this is bullshit. Why have you lied to me? You
Yeah.
stole my years
Sorry,
from
you're
me.
how old? Then?
This would have been when I was 24, I think. 24, 25 maybe.
This is a great story.
I'm
So-
a quick learner. Like, if better information comes along, I'll recognize it. I won't fight against it. I'll adopt it instantly.
And so then you went west.
Yeah, it was. Well, I kept living in Utah, and then on my 30th birthday, I bought my house in San Francisco, and I came here when I was 30, turned 30.
You've been in the same place since then.
Yeah. Yep.
This is the place over. You're still in the same place over
Yeah.
Lower Haight?
Yep. Yep.
Do
Wow.
quick math. 21 years ago.
He's a quick
Yeah,
learner.
houses were still affordable 21 years ago for sure.
They were.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I got it right
Plenty of
before
affordable.
that first boom.
Right.
Like literally,
With the first boom,
I
was
made
it
an
the
offer
dot-com
on my
thing?
house, and it had been on the market for like 4 months. And then right after I made my offer, there was a bunch of offers that came in, and they tried to weasel out of my offer.
Wow.
But I held them to
And
the.
that was just before the .com.
It was right
turnaround,
during
right?
that. I kind
you're
of
on the
moved
first-
here
the first
speculating.
one.
I thought I always loved San Francisco anyway. I came in as a vacation as a kid. And I just loved the Victorians and everything about it, the weather. So I always had it as a destination place anyway. But then I was kind of thinking, well, man, all that internet stuff's going to happen down there. I want to get down there.
Yeah.
You know?
You weren't involved in it though, as in
Not
the industry.
really, but I wanted to be around it.
Right.
I wanted to be around
It's
the
sizzling.
technology.
Do you remember,
Yeah.
and did you cash in on, with the turn of the century, right? Right when the .com thing was happening, and the startups were blowing up left and right that made no fucking sense, like this crazy hemorrhage of money.
Yeah.
Right? Where there were lists. We talked to somebody else about this.
We were talking about
with
this.
Paul
Yeah,
Lee.
yeah.
There were lists that went out to artists and performers and whatnot, where every day of the week
yeah.
you could go someplace and get killer food and killer drinks, all free.
I went to those things.
Yes.
Yeah. And all
So did
this
I. Maybe that's
down
what we
tempo
were.
house with all these cool. I remember like Edison. What are some of the other bands? People need to throw those parties again. By the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Early 2000s, that kind of vibey.
Well, you had all these companies, these
I call it .com music, honestly.
.com music
From
is a
.com
thing.
launch parties.
You had all
I
these
just call it
venture
.com
capitalists,
launch party music. Yeah.
and they were just pumping money because they thought they wanted to be on board with the next big thing when it blows up.
Yeah.
And so many of them were just
Well, and part of it was
frickin'
image
lousy.
too. Like if
Yeah.
you got people like us to go to them just because we're the underbelly, it lent credence
The
to
dark
what you were
underbelly.
doing. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of, and they were happy to do that.
and it was free drinks.
That was
and,
a smart move.
you know, good sound
And
system.
you could-
Wonderful
you could
catering.
eat and drink
Literally, that
daily
music
for a
from
year
that era
doing
was
that.
pretty vibey. I still like it when I hear the
what are we
Portishead.
talking
You know,
about?
it's the Portishead
Oh,
era.
yeah.
Where all those bands were doing that.
Trip hop.
Yeah,
Massive
trip
Attack.
hop. Yeah, Massive Attack.
Yeah. That's
Banksy.
that's .com music.
I call it .com
I like
launch
that.
party music. I called it that even back then. I'd say that for a laugh. But you know, when you walk in the room and it's got that vibey music going. I have a feeling you made music like that back then.
I'm still making it.
Yeah.
So you get to San Francisco, you buy a house.
Yeah.
You get a camera, you get Photoshop. Am I right? What
Yeah,
happened?
yeah,
That was
pretty
kind of
much.
the arch.
It started with the digital. Like I had a Palm Pilot camera.
Really?
Yeah, Palm Pilot, and I attached it to the bottom. And that's when I first started taking pictures of a girl I was dating.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, well, this is fun. And I took them into Photoshop, and I could do all the stuff I used to do in a dark room.
Yeah.
Wow, this is cool. I like this.
Yeah.
This is fun. And then one thing led to another, because if you make somebody look pretty, other girls want to be part of that.
That
You know
is
what I
a
mean?
phenomenon.
So I didn't have to go out hunting for people. They just all came.
You just shined a big bat light into the sky
Kinda.
and kind of, yeah.
Somebody said, well, a friend of mine told me, And I think they got the best. He goes,
It's
Merkley,
like three question
Yeah.
marks up on the horizon.
kind of. But it's true because a friend of mine said that vanity is a drug and you're a dealer. He said that to me.
Ooh.
And I said, I can't
That's
deny
actually
that.
that's pretty nice.
I can't
like
deny that.
Yeah.
I don't
There's
really
an
feel
analog
good
in
about
music
it.
where if you're a band, I had a band called Chubb. It was a ska band, super fun music, danceable.
I was in a ska band too. Fun.
If you get cute women
Yeah.
to go to your shows, everything starts playing out proper.
Well, this is textbook
right?
stuff.
It's the same,
Well,
same-
I was a promoter in
similar
Utah
notion.
for 10 years before I moved here. That was my thing. And I would only hand flyers to pretty girls.
Yes.
When,
See, that's
you
progressive.
get the woman, she invites the dudes.
Yes.
And so the dudes that get invited are
Yes.
higher quality.
Yes, it's
Higher
a demographic.
quality.
It's a demographic phenomenon that's absolutely bulletproof.
Yeah.
But you know what? You got to also give a little bit of credit to, I would say, and you can tell me if I'm completely wrong, would probably be MySpace at the time, correct?
Well, sure, certainly, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was easy to distribute.
Yeah, that's the
so
distribution.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I did a book just by taking pictures of 111 naked women on their own couches. And that thing, the way that happened was simple. I took a picture of my friend Jenny on her sofa, and I said, this would be a good series to do for a coffee table book.
Yeah.
But
How'd you arrive
I'd
at
said
111?
stuff like that a million times. I got a million ideas for coffee table books.
Yeah.
Well, she runs out and tells people that I'm making a coffee table book. Right?
You have some anointed.
She goes, Merkley's making a coffee table book, and I'm going to be on the cover, And so the three other girls come up to me that very night. It was at Delirium.
person of influence.
At Delirium, and they were
about
like, "I want to be in
Delirium.
your book," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I did 3 more shoots, and by the time you do 3 shoots, you get 4 people naked on their sofas. You kind of are bound to do the book, otherwise you turn into a total douchebag.
Well, and also the fact that they entrust you with doing that
Yeah.
is a huge thing.
Well, also, you just can't say you're going to do it, then get a bunch of people naked and then not do it. Although on my next book, I did exactly that. I did another book, but then I hated it, and I said, no, I'm not going to make a fucking book out of this.
Well, no, you did the couches, though.
I did the couches.
How did you arrive at 111? What was
Just
that?
because 111 Minna was there.
Yeah.
It's a fun number. I
Yes.
like kind of making fun of...
Melanie's in the book.
Was she really?
She really is, yeah.
I kind of like making fun of numerology and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
That's so weird you said that.
I like to trick people. Like, it's just fun to do.
And then I'm gonna cut to the chase myself. He had a book opening party at 111 Minna on January 11th, 2011.
Intention.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. It was 2008.
Was it 2000?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been 2008. Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. But it was on 111.
Yeah.
You obviously.
Fun party too. I was there.
And I think I'm going to do a reunion party next year for the 11th anniversary.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Why not?
111 minute?
Maybe, although I Ming sold 111, so
You're what?
I Ming sold the bar, so he's not the same owner anymore.
No, it's much different now.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'd probably do it. I want to do it smaller instead of. I'm never going to do 111 pictures. again.
We go grab them.
Yeah, maybe. You
Okay.
grab it closer. I'll get the next one.
All right.
But
I'm
like-
older. Remember, we talked about this earlier.
Oh, that's true.
I'm
I'm good.
the elder at the table. Go get us drinks.
All right.
That was so easy.
Yeah, you'd think you'd have people bringing them down.
Well, they do. They only have one person tonight because we were going to do it Wednesday,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
I love all of this
How many?
because I don't know about your history.
How many of these
at
have
all.
you done?
This is our 5th, I think. Our maiden voyage. We were going to do them initial. The intention initially was we were going to do them with trapeze association with trapeze.
Oh, okay.
Burlesque thing. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had Mika Lecrim, who's worked with a bunch, love the hell out of her, and then Eden Berlin, who's from Berlin,
Okay.
and is like a major figure in burlesque also.
Okay.
And they're very different kind of personality-wise, so I was kind of curious to see what would happen with that. And I have this affinity for this place. I've worked with the Armory a bunch. I thought doing it down here would make a shit ton of sense, right?
Yeah.
Back in the
Why
corner
not?
of a place.
Yeah.
And when you have cocktails pouring into your situation across time, right?
Drunk history.
The language starts going and the stories start going,
That's
which was
true.
kind of not the intention at first. It was more like we had access to this place.
Yeah.
Let's do it here. Then it's, of course, tongues start, and things go.
Yeah.
Are you buzzed right now?
Well, I guess I've got a half of a beer in me. Yeah, but I'm a lightweight now because I don't really drink anymore.
Drinking stupid.
So it affects me more.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Why aren't you
cheaper.
drinking more?
I'm a cheaper drunk now than I used
That's
to.
what happens if you don't practice.
Yeah, you got to practice.
You got. Well, I mean, you have to if you want to not be a cheap drunk.
I don't really miss alcohol that much, so I think it's probably just age too. I guess some
When did you tone it
alcoholics are
down?
alcohol.
Were you a drinker?
Oh yeah, through my 30s. I didn't take my first drink till I was 33, though. You know, so
Your first drink in life.
my first taste of alcohol was when I was 33 years old. After I moved to San Francisco.
How old was I when I first smoked weed?
How old were you?
Yes.
How old were you?
No guess. What do I look like?
I don't know. You seem like a guy that would have done it when you were 12.
Son of a bitch.
You guys talking about?
27.
27? Huh, well, good for you.
So I
So
was
where?
a jock. So
Oh, you were a
I
jock.
was a jock. Here's the weird thing about I was a jock, but I absolutely preferred hanging out with stoners, like in high school,
Okay.
in college.
Were you getting
I wasn't in the
stoned?
job.
You were kind of a
community.
Joe Rogan kind of a guy.
Was that his role?
Well, he's kind of a meathead jock kind of guy, but
Stoner.
hangs out with the stoners and maybe
Yeah.
some of the intellectuals
the jock
too.
crowd is
Artists.
difficult to find anything pithy,
Yeah.
and they're the douchebag factors to the roof, and I
Yeah.
fucking hate douchebags.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's-
So it
Love
was
'em.
always kind of repulsive to me. So let's get back to it.
What'd I miss?
Where'd we go?
Now that
we
we're
were talking about photography.
Oh yeah.
We
I had
talked
a-
about drinking, how I never had a drink until I was 33.
Oh shit! I did not know that.
This guy started when he was like 4 years old.
No,
like, he would do
actually,
cussing.
no, not really. Marijuana I started very early, but drinking I couldn't get into it.
Where are you
very-
from?
I was born in San Diego, and I was there till I was about 9. Then I moved. My parents moved up on the Mojave Desert, kind of
I
outside
really
of Death
like
Valley.
people from San Diego.
Well, thank you.
Like people from
I do. I've met a lot of people from San Diego, and there's so many nice people from San Diego.
There are a lot of nice people.
Reasonable
That's a good point.
people.
Yeah.
They seem reasonable.
Mellow. Well,
I mean-
anyways, that was the first time I lived up in outside of Death Valley, up on the Mojave Desert until I graduated, and then I went to Humboldt State, and then moved down here right after I graduated from college. Thank you. But what I was going to say, I wanted to get back to the photography. When the first time you came on my radar, some girl who I was kind of dating at the time showed me these are, as I was saying earlier, the MySpace days.
Oh yeah,
Can
yeah.
I time out?
Okay.
Yeah.
So before you did the couch.
Before
project,
that, I was just
you were
doing.
a photographer though.
Well,
already.
I didn't consider
Or you
myself. I always
got
just use
into it?
pocket cameras, like a little, power shot, Canon power shot. But I would just, because I was going out and drinking a lot, then I would just take pictures of people with my, with what is now known as a MySpace angle. I knew how to make flattering pictures of people, and so I was basically started out
above?
making profile pictures for people on MySpace.
So before.
Yeah, airbrushing, making people,
But you
changing the lighting.
Were you
changing the
were you
colors.
adding what I've
This
come
is
to christen in the industry as the Merkley what the fuckery, like the
Yes.
items and the
No, not yet.
chicanery and all
Not
that
yet.
stuff?
No,
Okay.
that came later.
That's what he called it one time.
That came later.
The Merkley.
Merkley,
What the fuckery?
What the fuckery?
Did I
It's
call it that one?
basically
Okay,
it's
yeah.
basically all the peripherality that he uses,
Yeah.
along with the whoever the central would be it a
Right.
gal or guy or
Which was that involved with the couches?
could be.
Couch
Yeah,
project,
that's
is that
where
it started?
that kind of started. Yeah. Well, it actually started when I was a kid. So it all comes full circle because when I was a kid, I considered myself to be a cartoonist. And so I would draw funny pictures and make weird things in them to try to make people figure out what was going on. Like in 4th grade, my best friend, I'd entertain him all day drawing these cartoon characters I call geefers, which is which is a name that a kid in 4th grade would come up with. But they're
does
like
it mean by
a guy
geefer?
with ladders for legs, just surrealistic
Yeah.
combinations.
Where'd the word come from?
Just my mind. That sounds silly. It's
Yeah.
a geefer.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Bam.
Obviously.
Yeah. But so I kind of like came back around to that when I started adding the silly stuff and the surreal stuff back in.
Yeah, and I'm talking about. I mean, I saw a bunch of that stuff with obviously using a lot of lady female models and stuff. And this girl goes. So I was looking to do because I was like I had to I hate to sound so cynical about it, but I had to rebrand my image at the time.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I want to do something new. And I saw your stuff, and I was like, this is completely out of fucking, at least for my wheelhouse at the time. This is out of fucking left field. I love it. And I don't know, I guess I probably reached out to you.
Yeah, you did.
Via
I think that was
MySpace.
after the book, though.
No, because the book was a couple years later. The book was in 2008.
that's right,
I'm going
we-
back to like 2005.
Which did we do first? Did we do the...
We did all the fruit and DJ stuff. That was in January of
that
2007.
was at the place where Kink was before.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that
down
the first
on
one we did?
5th and Howard or something like that.
Oh, so we did that first? That was
We did
before
that
the book,
in
really?
January of 2000. I mean, January 2007 is when that was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I had started the book, and so I was already doing the weird shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the book probably. I'm assuming you were compiling for a long time before.
Well, I really
it
did
had
it.
to take
I
you
did
some
it for
time
a
to
year.
do it.
I took a year to do it.
Right. Okay.
Really. But so that means, because that's kind of interesting to hear that, because I kind of thought that I did your shots after the book, but maybe not. Maybe I was doing that.
Yeah.
I don't even know my own timeline.
And after I had those, man, everybody is like, I just kept going. He's over there. His name's Merkley. He's over there, just
Yeah.
waving the crowd toward you. Yeah. Talk to
it was
him.
good.
I don't know.
When I was producing a lot of work, it's that whole thing. The more you put out there, the more that comes back. Mm-hmm. And so those were busy times for me back then.
Do you still do it?
No, I stopped because once Instagram came around, and by the way, I have inside information that a lot of the some of the early Instagram filters were directly built off of what I was doing, because I was adding my own recipe.
You have inside knowledge that that's true?
That golden green hue that I always was doing.
Yeah.
The filters, a lot of that, I have inside information from Adobe and from Instagram that a lot of that was copying my style. Or
Yeah.
at least using that as a starting point.
Yeah.
And then, of course, millions of filters came along after that. But one of them, when I saw it come out, I was like, that's my recipe right
Yeah.
there.
For who? For Adobe?
Yeah, Adobe was doing it first, and then Instagram, too, right after. And once Instagram came around, the thing is I failed as a photographer according to me, because no matter how much I tried to get my message across, it didn't come across. It did to some. To some people, they could realize what I was doing. I was trying to use this naked person kind of as competition, and I'd pack a story in around it, little hidden ideas. But ultimately, most of it was like, tits, boobs. And so I got way too much of that when I go out. I was like, dude, how many of them chicks you fuck? And I'd be like, oh, great. And not only that, but I got added in nerve.com. I blogged for them.
Yeah.
And I got lumped into all these erotic photographers. And I have nothing against erotic photographers, but that is
wasn't
not
right.
what I was doing.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, in terms of, if you have to call it a recipe, your recipe wasn't just what you're doing in terms of the filters. It's actually the content of what's going on.
Yes,
the
it was-
composition.
And not only that, but I was trying to say to people, like, for example, I won't mention any names, but there are other erotic photographers that I become friends
I
with or
will.
whatever. But they chose their models very specifically on that a certain type. They were basically like model hunters. Where it's
Yeah.
like, I want to exploit that look. That they're thin, they have this certain shape of tits, blah blah blah.
Right. You were all over the map.
No, I was like whoever. I would
Yeah.
never say no to
Yeah.
anybody, because
Yeah.
my point was, look, I can Photoshop anybody, and with the right amount of attention and care, anybody can look special. And so
Yeah.
my thing was, is like to kind of do an expose on what was going on. It's like, those models really aren't that hot.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Yeah.
But I don't think people got it. I fed too much into the vanity thing, and that's not really what I wanted to do.
You think the vanity thing is kind of what came back to bite you, too, in terms of the public reaction of people? I mean, you're talking
Yeah.
about kind of douchey guys coming up and
A little bit, yeah.
talking
And that's
about
why I wore sunglasses out. In those days, I would wear sunglasses out when I go out, which increased my douche factor. But literally, it was because...
Not really. That's a forever mysterioso situation.
It might be, but I had a real reason why I
smoking
did it. I still had the Mormon savior complex thing going on. So if I make eye contact with somebody, I can't just look away and pretend like I didn't see them. I have
Saviors do not do
I have to
that.
engage with people. And I have this terrible habit of finding the saddest loser in the club, because I'm not attracted, but I'm, whoever's the weirdest or the
They're the most interesting.
the outlier.
Yeah.
But then I would get trapped in these conversations with them, because if they caught me making eye contact, I couldn't say that I hadn't. So I would literally wear
such
those.
a nice
That's
Mormon
true, you
boy
can't-
at
I would
heart.
literally wear them to protect myself from having to talk to people I didn't want to have to talk to.
Maybe you should have just
It's
told
terrible.
them, I'm sorry I looked at you in the eye. Can you
Yeah.
can you pretend that didn't happen? And listen to mine?
You should have that on a hat.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I looked at you in the eye.
Yeah.
Can you pretend that didn't happen? Nice bumper sticker. sticker too.
So, if you
Yeah,
guys, sorry if I missed this while I was urinating, but about how compositionally. So, I was thinking about this while urinating just now. I remember seeing the photo of you that you shot.
Well, that's what we were talking about.
And that
yeah.
fortified my whole opinion of you as a, because I didn't know
DJ.
Yeah, it's like some kind of artist. I had no idea that there was somebody.
It was all Merkley.
and that's an interesting.
I don't think it was.
Well, no, I had the concept, but what happened was I contacted him and I said, "Hey, I want to go down to the porn." It was the old
Porn Palace.
yeah, when it was down on 5th and
Is that where that was
Jesse.
shot?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5th and Jesse. And I said, I want to kind of have, because at the time I was playing all this kind of electro tropical stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to bring some pineapples and I'm going to kind of have this merengue thing and, and kind of have this Caribbean tiki on steroids type
You were
of
telling him
motif.
this.
I was, in my mind, I was just
Right.
How did you guys
visualize. So I reached out to him and I said, hey,
Did you guys know each other at that point?
No,
No,
just I reached out through MySpace. I said, I love your work, or you're in San Francisco.
What work? The
I had
couch
seen
project?
I'd seen all his he's posting all his photos on MySpace, and I said I'd love to do a shoot.
Time out again.
I was on Flickr by then too. Actually,
Had you-
Flickr,
2006 is when I
Yeah.
started.
Had you already
on
started
Flickr.
developing this signature look?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so because I thought it happened during the book, but
Yeah.
he's reminding me that it was actually earlier that
Yeah.
I was doing these kinds of things.
Okay.
So I show up with all
I've been
this.
so curious about this shit for
I
years.
show up with all this fruit and stuff
awesome.
and DJ equipment and everything, but I had no idea what really, like, I hadn't taken that next level of really thinking about how it was all going to work. And I think I just kind of threw it all out and said, fuck it, let's just take. And meanwhile, something happened. I went to the bathroom or something, and I come back, and Merkley had taken.
At the shoot.
Yeah, well, at the bar of the old porn pals, taken all the fruit and like he made turntables out of the cantaloupes,
Right.
and he did all this stuff, and he's like, "Now
Watermelon,
I just
I think.
made you a whole
Yeah.
fruit sound system rig.
Yeah.
Get behind it, let's shoot." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah, it
That
was
was
something like
such a
that.
fucking-
I think it was a little bit more.
Wow.
I don't remember exactly, but my process normally when people reach out to me and hire
Yeah.
me or for whatever is I go, well, what is this for?
Yeah.
And I go, well, if it's a DJ such as yourself, or you're making music, I go, well, let me hear the music. And so what I like to do is just go, well, let's build it around what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's where, it makes sense that we go, well, the tropical stuff, get it all in there. Let's
Yeah.
bring as much as we can. And then you get on, you go, all right. I think I already wanted to do the DJ thing, though, by the time we got
Do
there.
clients
You
typically,
may have already
I
done
think I
other
already in my
DJs.
mind
I
thought
don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
clients typically relinquish control in that respect to your vision?
Well,
of
I
it?
kind of force them to.
Good.
Because
You
I don't.
should. It works.
I always just tell people, well, people have an idea already. Go, just go do it yourself.
Yeah.
My fun is making the idea.
I love it.
That's the fun part.
You know what's funny about that
Brilliant
story?
shit like that.
Is I remember my idea was not the porn
Unreal.
palace at first as the backdrop. It was what's that street over in the Mission with all the graffiti? And I was thinking because I wanted a backdrop
That
that's
one?
no, not the
Right,
street,
right.
the alley.
Okay.
What's the alley
Like
over
Clarion?
here? Yeah, that
Yeah.
one. And I was thinking I just want a lot of color.
Yeah.
And it's kind of Latin stuff too. And I'm thinking Caribbean. I'm thinking cha cha cha. And I'm like, hey, let's go over there and we can do over there. And he immediately goes, oh, I fucking hate that alley. We're not going there.
I didn't say that,
Yes,
but-
you did. And I was like, I like this guy.
I didn't hate the alley. Let's get that clear. I don't hate the alley, but I just don't like it when people use other people's art in their art.
Yeah, no,
That's
it was,
really
it
what
was a valid point. Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
I'm
just
glad we did it.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did
So
it.
that was shot at the Porn Palace.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I remember being a little disappointed when you wanted to go there because I usually like to go in people's homes. I'm mostly interested in people's homes.
Yes.
I like their stuff.
it's organic.
Yeah, I want to see their environment.
Yeah.
And the more normal or the crappier the environment, the more I'm happy about it.
He's
The-
got
you
a
know-
pretty straightforward house.
He's been to it. He shot
I've been
Melanie
there.
there.
Shot Melanie there,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh.
But I would have been happy to have done it there too. Porn Palace worked out just fine.
It worked out amazing.
Yeah, it wasn't that processed.
Because
it was kind of
mostly
just a hollow.
black,
It
and
was just a hollow
The background
canvas.
is not the. Yeah.
It was just a canister, so it was
Yeah.
like whatever we brought to it.
We didn't really use anything from that place as
No.
a featured.
No, there was
item.
no
The real
tightening
doll.
ropes or
Let me tell you a
dildos
story
or
about
anything.
that fucking place.
Okay.
I went there. I did a. What was that at? I had a gig. It's like Bunny Jam or something. Remember the Bunny Jams? Did you ever go to one of those?
Maybe, I
It's
don't know,
all-
probably.
Easter
It's
party.
all
Back in the
human
day,
rabbits. It's
yeah.
all fucked up. I went to collect my gear, having done a show there, and I walked by. Remember, there's a jail cell, like a standalone
Yeah,
jail cell.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was the only other person in there, and I glanced over, and there's this beautiful woman, crazy body, laying on the bed in there.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's fucking weird. By herself.
This
Did
is
you
this is the midst of a party too.
No. This is after the
Oh,
party.
oh,
This
gotcha,
is me
gotcha.
going to clear my gear
okay,
out
all right.
Okay.
the next day. She's laying on the bed in the jail cell, and I'm thinking, why is she just laying there? Like, is she waiting for the crew to show up? And
Yeah, what's up?
I came back. I got my stuff, and I was rolling it back on my little push cart, and I stopped and looked at her, and it was a real doll.
Oh,
They were that. It was that real?
Yes, it was fucking crazy.
well, were you drinking too?
What's that?
Were you had a couple drinks?
No, this was the
Oh, yes,
morning.
you
I
did.
didn't-
Oh, in
I
the
don't
morning,
drink till,
okay.
like, noon.
Well, I mean, if you're not staring directly at them, you're kind
Yeah.
of like averting your gaze.
Like, I don't want to be that guy who's staring.
Yeah, so
at
in
her.
your periphery, I can see how that
nowadays
works.
they're-
Yeah.
nowadays
And
they're so
glanced over
realistic.
and I thought, God damn, that woman's hot. And it's weird that she's just here by herself.
Did you get
and
her
I
number?
came back and she had not changed her. No. She had not changed
That's
her
funny.
position at all.
That's funny.
And I'd been
You're
clearing
like, is
for
she
like a
dead?
half hour. And it turned out it was, and that's the first time I'd seen a real doll in real life. Have you
I don't
seen
think
a
I've
real
ever.
doll?
I don't
You guys
think I
seen a
ever
real
have
doll?
seen.
I
one.
have, and nowadays
convincing.
you've seen online, especially nowadays, the arc has gone exponentially
They
in
look
terms of
heavy and unwieldy. I can't understand why people would want that.
they want
Like,
heavy and
Oh, they're
unwieldy.
not. They're like actual human weight.
Like if I could tell somebody go over there and they can do it on their own power, why would I? I would prefer that.
It's
And I
coming.
have to
That's coming
lift
out.
it.
They're trying to work robotics. in
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean they're getting Blade Runner with it. It's
Put some drone stuff on it. Can you go over there?
well, no, you have it play the piano, and then you can sing, and you don't have to worry about the keys and everything. Yeah,
That's funny.
It was a creepy fucking feeling. Where did you guys shoot in the Porn Palace, which I love that place.
it was in the
That place is
disco
unbelievable.
in the bar, the main area. Yeah, we shot a few. There's
Oh, and I
3 or
remember
4.
one of the images of his became so popular on my Flickr that somebody else in Norway or something purchased it for use in their corporate literature or whatever. And so my rule back then was if somebody were to purchase with somebody else's photo, I would offer a free photo shoot to the other person that was in it as kind of a success breeds
So the
success kind of
model?
thing. Yeah, he was
was the
in
model?
it.
in
Was
this
that
case,
Melanie?
that was me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've
It was
never
a DJ
bothered.
picture that he's talking about one of the original DJ pictures he took of me. Someone had
Somebody
flagged and-
licensed it,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know.
But not the one with that you said.
The watermelon one, the DJ
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
They licensed
Who
that
was
for
the
me.
model? Was that Melanie?
It was him.
The model. No, he's
Oh,
talking
and-
about Melanie. Yeah, she was on the side of me. You doubled her. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
her. Yeah.
So you're saying that the models who were
If I create a photo
Okay.
and somebody else licenses that, because I don't do releases and shit like that. I feel like if somebody wants it, I'll work a deal out with whoever the model is. I'll contact them. I go, well, this company wants to use this,
I see.
and here's as this. We'll do another photo shoot as a payment for that.
you have this conversation with the models.
Yeah.
Bravo. That's
Afterwards,
huge.
because
Yeah,
I
but
don't
mean, there's a lot of
I don't
photographers.
bother doing it in the front because who cares if nobody cross that bridge when you come to it.
Sure.
And if somebody didn't want it to be used, like a company, I wouldn't force them to, make you do it. Like
He also
But
did.
that's cool of you to.
You know
to
that
go
picture
there.
that we always use for trapeze of me?
That's what I'm talking about.
With all the
Yes.
absinthe bottles. That was him.
that was your bonus picture for that.
That's right.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's right.
The one that we like. That
Where
I
I'm
used
sitting
when
down
you
and I got
are
a cigarette and I got an absinthe
Yes,
drink and
it's
I'm on a
it's-
Ain't you
piano.
looks a little bit like what's his
Watermelon.
name? What's that author?
I look like him.
The shooting the
Salman
guns.
Rushdie.
No, who's the guy shooting the guns? Hunter S. Thompson. He had kind of a Hunter S. Thompson.
I
vibe.
had a pith helmet on and
that's the shoot I'm talking about. That's
Yeah.
Melanie is the model, right?
No, Melanie was not the model. There
That
was
is another woman that I know. She ended
Amanda.
up being Amanda.
We're
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah,
like the watermelon turntables.
Right. No. With the absinthe bottles, Amanda's
Your brain
in the
is
background.
mush, dude.
New information, by the way. I am the
She
elder.
was providing antlers for
we're talking
his
about
head.
the picture that we always use for trapeze where I'm sitting because it's
Yes.
akin to your picture where you're sitting.
Right.
He did that picture and
I
it's
know that. That's what I've been talking about this
Gotcha.
whole
I'm
time.
sorry. All right.
But
That's not the same
Melanie's
thing.
not in that picture.
No. That's
there's-
a model named Amanda.
That
That's what
picture,
I'm asking.
that picture is the bonus picture he got because somebody else licensed the first picture we did.
Yeah.
which
That
is
is
the
the
DJ
picture I've been talking about where when I saw that, for whatever reason, when I saw that associated with him, I thought, if he had the wherewithal, and I didn't know you at that time, I think, if he
Yeah.
had the wherewithal to commission a
Yeah.
shoot that is that original, because that is a badass fucking shot.
I
That is like
agree. I like that shot a lot.
That is an epic.
Yeah. It's a cool one.
Once
I
in a
like
lifetime.
Well, you know what the impetus was at the time we were starting me and Paul were doing an absinthe party, producing an absinthe party, and we needed some sort of promotional, DJ Della show is going to be. So Paul had a ton of. He was like. He imported all that absinthe. He was like a connoisseur,
right, and that was before it was
distributor.
legal again.
That was before that was before it was legal again. And so he had all that.
I enjoyed that part of it. I thought that was cool.
And I said, well, I'm going to have all this absinthe, but then Merkley showed up and he created or visualized the whole. Yeah, let's. Put
I love to go into somebody's house and make a mess, knowing that I don't have to clean it up. I just go, thanks, see you later.
So
I move their furniture around.
It returns you to that.
I tear everything out of their closets.
Where you can just thrash the shit out of stuff, and adults have to roll with it.
Yeah.
But I've redecorated a lot of houses because I am impatient for bad decorations. So if somebody's sofa's in the wrong place, I'll be like, it's going over here.
No,
We're
sofa
doing
over there.
this. I will do it. I will do the whole thing.
Generally, or for a sheep.
I'm like a home and garden. What's that channel where they do the redecoration? I literally did that every time I wanted to.
That would
do
be
it.
fun. That's actually there's a little thought experiment.
I would get pissed off if people didn't leave it that way too. Like if I found out that they reorganized their furniture,
Damn it, I set the sofa over there.
I would be like, I don't like you anymore. God damn it, I'm an artist with vision.
How dare you?
And I did that for free.
So did you? Obviously, I'm completely aware of the sofa book. Did you do more?
Well, I did another one.
Okay,
I
I don't know
started
about that
another
one.
one. I went against my inclinations. I thought, well, why am I always doing things the way I want to do them? Why don't I switch it up? So I literally went against my own rules and inclinations because I like symmetry. I like really organized stuff. So the next one was like not symmetry. I was using the rule of thirds in a different way. I was even blasting because since nobody was getting the idea.
Was there an overarching theme?
Yeah, dreams.
Okay.
It was dreams. So the theme was like, whoever the model was, it would be like, what did you dream last night and what did I dream last night? And then we combine those things in the photo. So we'd find a location that fit one of our dreams, and then I'd put items in from those dreams.
Gotcha.
So it was really random, but not random. It was produced by the subconscious, which I still like as an idea. But the way I approached it, by going against my own inclinations and not doing symmetry.
Do you think that's a Gemini thing?
Maybe, I don't know.
I'm super hung up on that too, symmetry-wise. Like I
just love it. It just shows effort. It just shows effort.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I respect effort. I really do.
Sure.
Somebody shows care.
I want to see a little
and thought-
sweat.
But nobody knows that it's effort on your part.
No, but
They don't
I
know you're hung up on unless they've studied your work.
Yeah.
They don't know that you're hung up on symmetry.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, but the second project, I went against all my own inclinations. I amped up the photoshopery, like I slathered people with oil because I really wanted to sell home.
You mean in real space?
No, on Photoshop.
Oh, in Photoshop. Gotcha.
I had a shine.
Digital. Yeah.
I wanted to make it apparent. I wanted to like go, dudes, this is Photoshop.
Yeah.
I am Photoshopping. These are normal women. I lengthen their legs. I make their eyes bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I tuck them in. That's how the industry works. I was just trying to say, see, this is what you're up against. But still nobody got it. But ultimately...
Was it published?
No, well, I got about halfway...
That might have been why nobody got it.
I got about halfway through it.
Okay.
And I was just like, ugh, I hate this.
So you aborted mission.
But I already had the date set with 111 minute. And so I had to just power my way through it.
What made you... What caused it to fail?
Me? I didn't like it.
What was that moment that where you said...
Well, because I made this decision to kind of go... It's kind of probably self-sabotage in a way where, you know, if you have a formula that's working that you like and you want to challenge yourself, you go, I'm going to go for something I don't like. You know, I'm going to try to make something else work.
Yes.
You know?
Even though things are going perfectly
But also, I'm just kind of, my personality is, I like to take broken things off the street and fix them up. It's that savior complex again. So even I would pick poses that weren't the best pose. And I go, I'm going to use that pose because that's the least appealing pose of the bunch.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make it work.
Yeah.
How much of this, because I have a similar trajectory to you in all kinds of weird ways that I didn't know was the case till now. Fundamentalist Christian upbringing.
Okay,
right?
yeah. Lots of similarities, probably.
And there's that has turned you into this creature, right? Like, it's weird how often that happens and how beautifully it turns out. I used to be pissed off about it. Like
Me too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then ultimately, you're cool in your skin now.
Well, thanks. But you know what?
Right.
I think about that a lot of times.
And aware of the fact of what caused
When you're
you to
talking
do
about
that.
people that leave their upbringing and turn their back on it and go out and go forth, I generally get along with them the best. Like,
Well, in the extreme circumstances,
for example, the
especially.
people I really like having conversations with now, where the really good conversations and debates are happening, are like black conservatives or gay conservatives. You know, people that don't fit in.
Not
It's
like
like,
talking to us right now.
no, you guys are terrible. This is awful.
Well, we're not black or conservatives or
But you know what I mean? It's like
gay.
because they're taking a step out. Like,
Yeah.
being a black conservative is hard.
It is
ballsy.
sure.
Yes, it's hard, and a gay conservative too. It's hard to be that. So
Yep.
you know, just by the fact that they're doing that certain processes have already taken place in their brain.
point.
Yeah.
They've made deliberate decisions.
Yep.
They're not just going with what they were supposed to do.
That's true. That's well. Basically, you know that they've got a little bit of road time in terms of miles on their odometer of running
They're
into.
so-
And you know that
they're
they at
so
least-
going against the grain.
That's what I mean.
And you know that they
Yeah.
at least understand the other argument.
Right.
You know, that's the thing is, what's hard now is when you talk to somebody, you know that they have no idea how to argue your side.
Yeah.
I mean, a good debate happens when you know how to argue their side.
Right.
You know, when you know how to advocate for their position.
You know, a lot of people now. Perfect segue
Yeah.
into all the diatribes and all the conversations. Can I get another glass of wine?
It's an older,
Wow, you guys are slurping them up. I'm
Yeah,
impressed.
we're
that's how it
you know.
works.
I'm
Yeah,
impressed.
yeah.
Well, I may as well have one too. I'll go get them.
Do you want one?
Cider. Yeah. She can leave it in the bottle, by the way.
We're just taking turns. That's all. Yeah.
Okay, see, that's friend behavior right
It
there.
is.
That
We're
was
friends.
that was your friend
We're
behavior.
friends.
Yeah. There you go. It's your turn, bitch.
So that's kind of a good segue into, you know, what obviously who I know you for today, for better or for worse, even though is the online
yeah.
provocateur / pariah, and I see
Yeah.
you know all kinds of things happening on your
I don't
wall all
accept
the
either
time.
one of those.
Well, I'm just trying to throw two
But
things
sure,
that are
yeah.
completely
People say
different,
that a lot.
opposites. You know,
Yeah. For sure.
because I don't think you're. You know, I don't think you're all one or the other, and I know you vacillate. You're human.
I'm actually just being honest.
Yeah, you're just being honest.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. That's at the end of the day, I'm always like, even if I disagree with something I see Merkley has written, I'm like, that's his opinion. And it's kind of been a way to, I think maybe not just for me, but for a lot of people to learn to live with different opinions.
That's my own. That's my biggest hope.
And we
Tolerate other ideas. Your opponent is probably not evil.
there you go.
They are probably a good, decent person doing the best they can.
Yeah.
Find some common ground. Try to put yourself in their position and argue their position, and you'll find
Yeah.
that it's not that big of a deal to disagree.
What do you think about this? I have a kind of a theory that I've been coming up with about why people lash out so much online and often anonymously, as you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, and I kind of think that they almost, I haven't really come up with the ontology of this theory, but it's almost a phenomenon where they kind of are almost painting people that they don't know online with, it's like, here I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know Merkley. I'm
cartoons.
gonna put on the mask of my uncle, who's
Yeah.
some racist uncle.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking to him.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're saying. I'm projecting
Interesting.
onto this guy. So they're kind of painting
Okay.
targets, you know, and then if someone steps up and they say, oh, I feel this way about this, they immediately get, and I know this word's completely overused now, but they get triggered into painting that target with, it might even be who they felt they used to be. They're kind of yelling
Or
at
are still projection.
Maybe it's definitely projection.
Yeah.
They're talking to a piece of them that they're unhappy with, and now they're kind of railing against, or maybe a family member. There's always the old joke about your racist uncle at Thanksgiving
Sure,
and
yeah.
all that stuff. So, you know,
Who is probably a lovely person who in real life isn't really racist. He says Archie Bunker shit.
Yeah.
But when he meets a black guy in his neighborhood, he's completely civil and friendly
Yeah.
to them. And probably he just, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? People aren't that evil. Even people that say things that people consider to be evil, you go, just chill the fuck out.
Just chill
They're
the fuck
probably
out.
fine.
Yeah.
They're going to be fine.
But I totally agree, but I think what's going on is there's almost a psychosomatic where they're almost lashing out in their own heads against themselves.
Well,
you know what I mean?
yes. Well, I think honestly, a lot of it is just pure cowardice and fear. I think they fear.
Fear is definitely.
I think
a
they
factor.
fear their own more than anyone. Like they fear being a target. Most people desperately want to blend in and not be singled
Make
out.
any waves.
Yeah. I, for some reason, can take it. Who knows why?
And I want to get into that later. I don't know why either, and I want to find out.
Yeah, I really don't know why, but for some reason I can just take it. I go, I don't
fortitude.
care. What?
The fortitude.
Well, I just can't figure out any other way to live. I can't live. I lived in San Francisco for a long time, just walking on eggshells, kind of keeping my mouth shut.
Yeah.
You know, and I just realized why. What did that bring me? Did that bring me close friendships, or did that bring me superficiality?
Right.
And I just ended up with a lot of superficial relationships that didn't have any depth.
Yeah.
So I would just rather, a friend of mine once told me a story. He was getting a divorce from his wife, right? He was leaving the Mormon church and she was staying in. And I was like, well, and he had a kid. I said, well, why don't you just kind of play along? Is it that big of a deal? And he said, well, I
Meaning
would.
stay the course. And,
Stay the course, because the Mormons will want to split your family up.
Sure.
They're like, we'll convince you that the dad's a bad guy,
Yeah.
So I said, well, you just, figure it out. And he goes, well, because I had this vision of myself as an old man surrounded by my friends and family as I'm dying, realizing none of them knew who I really was.
Ooh.
And I was like, whoa, chills. I got chills.
Yeah,
I was like, man, you just fucking nailed it right there. And I kind of have that. I kind of go through life with that same thing. Is like, why would you want people to not know who you are?
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with that, but I think, again, like where the rubber meets the road of all the opposition and the polemics and stuff. I get in an argument with a couple of friends on Facebook, and I spend the rest of the day depressed.
Me too. I hate
I'm
Facebook.
fucked. I don't care who won the argument. I don't care. I just feel like a malaise.
You know what I've been doing recently that's fun that I recommend you do?
Tell me.
Because I get threatened on Facebook.
See, that's
weekly.
So that's a whole other level. I don't even know about that level.
I've been punched. I've been violently attacked in San Francisco.
Are you kidding me?
No. I got pictures. My whole left side of my skull is
because of things you've said.
Because I'm me. Because I'm.
Well,
me.
I'm just trying to figure out where was the evidence. What was their intent? What was their impetus for?
Well, I don't want to get into it.
I mean, was it a random? I mean, we've all been mugged here and there and stuff like that.
No, it wasn't random. It was a guy who knew who I was.
Yeah.
And didn't like my presence in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, so he sucker punched me. But okay, so this is what I've been doing on Facebook recently.
Tell me.
It's a fun thing because Facebook has this thing where in private messages you can call people. You can just
I don't know
hit the
about
phone thing. Like I called you just before this.
Oh, that was
using
through Facebook?
Yeah.
I was wondering. I'm like, I don't think Merkley
That was
had
your
my
Facebook.
number.
You just click the phone thing
Wow,
in the messaging.
Just learned something very valuable.
So when people threaten me or whatever, I just call them. Most of the time they don't answer.
Give me Exhibit A of a threat. Generic.
Okay, so recently, it's usually when I'm commenting on someone else's wall, which is why I usually don't
even do that
I
anymore.
try not to do it,
Yeah.
but sometimes I just do, because it will be a friend or something.
Yeah.
But then other people that don't know that our connection will butt in.
Yeah.
And those are the people that really come in. They don't know anything about you, no connection to you.
Again, they're painting your identity and then projecting onto
or they
it.
heard something about you. In this city, everybody, at least in my sphere, on my little, they've heard something about me. They have an opinion about me.
Well, that's probably everywhere.
But anyway, this guy was a big, huge meathead looking dude. He's a bouncer at one of these local bars.
A friend on Facebook?
No, he's a friend of a friend on Facebook.
Gotcha.
But I had some opinion he didn't like. I can't remember what it was. It was just, I was just disagreeing with somebody. He was like, you better hope I don't see you around. I know who you are. You know what I mean? I go, are you threatening with violence? He goes,
was this a direct, was this a
This was
message?
in the comments.
Oh, in the comments, okay.
So I was just like, since I've been attacked, I take violent threats seriously. So I wanted to figure out, look, are you really threatening me or are you just talking shit? I want to know.
Yeah.
Look at his profile, call one of his bosses that I know. I go, is this guy really violent? He goes, no, probably not. But I called him. He didn't answer the phone. But sometimes people do. Right? And it's really weird how things just switch
let
around.
me get this straight in my head. So you're involved in some little go around, let's say political debate on Facebook. You're talking.
I'm likely defending Trump.
Everyone's commenting. People are getting heated. We all know the story. We're all way too familiar with it at this point.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of having some sort of opposition with another individual. You press the button and you call them.
I go to their profile. I hit message. Then I just call them directly. Yeah.
Wow.
I've been doing it recently. I've been doing that with people that I don't know that I like too. At first I was just doing it only with foes, going, okay, there's a communication breakdown. I know that voice to voice things are going to be different.
So I'm assuming the reactions are all over the map, but what is the common?
Most of the time, well, first of all, half of them don't answer.
Yeah.
But then the thread ceases. They
scared them.
don't comment again.
Yeah, this is getting personal.
That's the end of it. It creates the end of it. I call them, they don't answer, then I leave a message that says, hey, I thought we would talk face to face, because it turns out talking voice to voice is better.
Yeah.
It's superior.
Not even face to face, just human voice, the auditory inflections of language says so much more than text.
Typing is just low.
It is.
It's a low form of communication, unless you're a master. Even the masters would probably say that.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh, what's this?
That's my cider, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, my friend.
Yep.
Your wine's still coming up, and this is a adoption.
Okay.
It's like adopting a pet,
What do you mean? You just found it?
but it's temporary and it gets you drunker. No, she screwed up one of the drinks orders,
Oh, so you just
so
got
she donated it to the cause.
What is it?
You like how
Bourbon?
it's spilled right in front of you.
I like that. Yeah, it's very symbolic, very territorial pissing type of thing. Yeah, okay. So, anyways, where were we? And we edited a lot of these little spots out. So you call up people, and I'm thinking, obviously.
what I was saying is half of them don't answer, right? And so out of the other half, one of the guys just immediately was like, "Oh, dude, sorry, I've had a bad day. My mom died. Blah 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 blah.
Really?
I know you're probably not a bad guy. I've heard. I know you're friends with it, so and so. Blah blah blah." And he was just like, "Let's forget about it." And it turned out good. Like 2 or 3 of them have turned out that way.
Yeah.
But one other guy, I call him up and he's drunk at a bar. I can hear the sounds.
So he's been talking through an iPhone.
He's literally
at a bar.
Facebooking at a bar. His day is not going well. If you're at a bar and you're slightly buzzed
on Facebook.
and you're fighting on Facebook with somebody, But this guy doubled down. He was doubling down
in live form.
He was saying on the phone. He was like saying, "No, I would beat you up if I saw you." I go, "Are you serious? Like you would really just beat me up because of an online comment?" I still don't believe he would.
You never met face to face ever?
Never. No.
Okay,
No
okay.
clue who this guy is.
Gotcha.
No clue. But I mean, it turns out that half the people just kind of, you realize, oh, at that moment they go, oh, okay. Yeah, you're a real person.
Well,
Let's leave
and that's why I kind of more of a meta theory, which everyone has now, is it's actually just the labyrinth of Facebook that's debilitating us, that's making us, that's causing all the
and their fucking
the
algorithms
consternation.
are designed for that.
Yeah,
They want you to be engaged, and you're more engaged if you're enraged. They know that.
Yes.
I would be, I'm a libertarian, so less laws are better. But if somebody introduced legislation to make algorithms transparent, the same way you have to make drugs have to go through the FDA to figure out what they do, when you're manipulating core human function with algorithms, I think it's fair for people to go, no, we need truth in labeling here. We have labels on our of canned vegetables. Why don't we have labels? Why don't we know how these algorithms are manipulating us?
And how do they? And would you say that? Well, what would that look like? I mean, how would labeling algorithms?
Well, you would just go, here's how our algorithm looks. You'd show either the code or you'd show the mission behind it. You'd have to explain what's working. So people will go, I don't think I want to be manipulated like that, or I think I want to opt out of that.
Right.
I don't like that. Yeah.
Well, it's to me, it's scary. I mean, it can take a human form, is what you're talking about, an actual real world circumstance.
And I see that happening. You feel in the air. There's literally kind of a civil war brewing.
Yes.
This violence is brewing. And I really do think it is social media that's doing that. Because out in the regular world, people are getting along just fine.
Yeah.
And where they aren't getting along just fine is where they've come from social media to meet.
Yes.
You know what I mean? With that, bringing that along with
I mean,
them.
and also there's another factor at play within it, which is outside of social media, and it's also embedded in social media now, which is media in general and the mainstream media. And the way that kind of manipulation riles people up or heats people up it's
worse than ever.
And what I wanted to talk to you about is one thing about that in terms of like the Nazi stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bo. You are a savior.
Let me float that in on that little.
Oh no, that's fine. Don't worry about that. Let me let you in. So,
I just realized I've been getting out of doing gate duty for some reason.
Fucking guess.
it's fine. Yeah, you're the guest. So the way that works, I just saw
this was yesterday. I went on to CNN, which, you know, I was looking for just basic facts about the fire. You know, good place to start. Where is it at? How much of it is contained? Blah, blah, blah. CNN, not at all my media go-to for news.
They're the worst
but for
these days,
facts, you know, and so it pops up. I'm like, what's going on with the fire? CNN comes up in Google. Yeah, what's going on there? So I go on and I'm looking at the fire stuff, and I notice in the little sideline some story, front page still, about how a bunch of white a picture of a bunch of white guys doing the Sieg
Yeah,
Heil.
they were really waving.
They were really waving.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I saw that and like a dumbass took the clickbait.
Yeah.
You know, okay, what's going on? There's
Yeah.
some Nazis doing Sieg Heiling out in Philadelphia.
And they know that that's not what it was. That's the part
here's,
that's,
so I'll tell the story. So
Yeah.
I look in the story and I go, so what is this about this? And before it even, for at least 12 paragraphs before they even talk about the picture, they're giving me a lesson on the Holocaust.
Yes.
They're giving me why this is a danger in society.
Yeah.
Why this places need to be okay for people and we all need to be. And I'm thinking, well, what about the picture? Who are these people? They're not even telling me that in 12 paragraphs.
Yeah.
Finally, it gets down to, like, say, the 13th paragraph. And, it turns out the photographer told him to say, wave goodbye to your mom and
So
dad.
they admitted it.
Yeah, they admitted
but
it.
They used it as clickbait.
But
anyway.
they used it as clickbait. They said, here's a Nazi story. And then meanwhile, embedded in it is the Charlottesville, things like that. So they're putting all these images, making me have all these associations and things like that.
Terrible.
And I'm thinking, you guys just took this story, which was nothing.
Most people don't make it to the 13th
it.
paragraph. They don't. They click for the headline.
And now
That's
you've
it.
got your Nazi story about
Like a really
what's
hungry
going on.
fish.
I mean, it's so freaking ridiculous.
You know what I do sometimes now? I literally, when I click on a link, I don't even start at the top. I start at the bottom. Last paragraph first, and then work my way up.
But here's my point about that.
Because they usually hide the details.
My point isn't about. I mean, that's all we all know the ubiquity of, especially CNN and a lot of mainstream media doing manipulative things like that. Fake news. But my point is, what are they? What is it they know? They're a company. They're bottom line, like anyone else. So they know that this Nazi hysteria is making money.
Yeah.
But they know that there's something in us that we need that, and we need to be frightened about that. So they're using that as a product to kind of get everyone riled up.
Well,
but my question is, what is it inside of us that we need, is it a primordial bad guys thing?
Here's what it is. I've thought about this too. What Facebook and social media are tapping into is the core emergency response. Back when Fred and Barney Flintstone were squirreling around with dinosaurs,
they just came into this.
all they had to worry about was the guy on the other side of the mountain. And when he would come up with Jeremy, whoever it was, he's like, he's coming over to steal our bitches. Fight.
Jeremy the king.
You know what I mean? But meanwhile, they're just making dinosaur stews and stuff like that. They
Dinosaur stew.
but that's really primitive cultures. We didn't worry about emergencies. They'd come along every once in a while. Tribes coming over, steal our bitches, get into fight mode.
Yeah.
Somebody got gored by a bull, fight mode, or an antler or something. But now they're triggering that response every day. There's always an emergency. Shooting here, shooting there. We're not supposed to know about these things. We didn't used to have any way to find out about these things. We only knew about the news.
What do you mean we're not supposed to know?
Wait, I think it means we're not used to it.
We're not used to it.
It's not been there, right?
It hasn't been there because how do you, when you're a tribe in the 1700s living somewhere, or the 1400s, the 13, whenever, you don't know that information doesn't travel fast enough.
It doesn't, but it ultimately does get those. So when Genghis Khan's going through going through,
you eventually get it.
The news shows up,
and
everyone's definitely scared as fuck.
You should be in emergency mode then.
Yes.
But now we're constantly in emergency. Every time you log on, there is a dire emergency.
Because it sells.
The world is ending.
But why does it
tomorrow.
sell? That's my question.
Because
What is it?
We're worried. We're
human
survivalists.
propensity,
We literally, they're tapping into our fear response.
Right.
We want to know, is this a threat? Oh my God, somebody went through a school and shot it up. Is that going to happen to me? I need details.
Yeah.
We can't not do that.
Right.
That's why it's dangerous, is because even no matter how smart you are and you think you can just switch it off, that is core lizard brain function.
Yeah, that's hypothalamus stuff.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. Like the whole in the media, old school print media especially used to be, if it bleeds, and news media, if it bleeds, it leads, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a human propensity, which is absolutely makes sense, a core propensity to like almost have an appetite for drama.
Warrior behavior is in our genes because there has always been, like every organism you see is territorial. Warrior.
Oh, warrior, yeah.
Warrior behavior. Like every living organism is fighting for territory. In a microscope, they're fighting for territory. There's a battle going on everywhere. We're no different from that.
No, hell no.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, in a weird way, the possibly positive side of this, if I have to take the other point of view, is that if these wars are happening virtually online and in video games, that is better than them happening in real life. So if maybe people can channel and get out that warrior, fevery, have to kill, you know, because that's still in our blood.
I think it's the reverse. I think the online bleeds into your real life.
You think?
Well, I mean, it goes both ways. It goes both ways, yeah. But definitely. Like I was saying earlier, if I get into some big argument or something, and I end up feeling depressed for hours afterward. I'm not even online anymore.
Me too.
I'm trying to play with my kids, and I'm like, "Fucking Merkley said that, motherfucker," blah blah.
You agree with me way more than you.
No, I'm just making you. I'm just using you as an in general.
Intentionally.
I do. Yeah, I can't help it. It's some sort of
because especially if it's an important topic that ultimately could affect you.
Right.
You do want. That's why I hate politics. Is because, somebody today was like, they were slagging me off on my wall. He's a friend of mine, so I slagged him off personally, and he goes, "Man, why'd you have to make it personal?" I said, "Because I'm a person."
Did he know that you were a person?
Yeah, I'm a person. Everything is personal to a person.
How that rolls?
It'll be fine. I mean, we fight all the time online. He's a nice guy.
That's the thing, and then I think that's what a lot of people. I don't know if it's my own solipsistic world, but it seems like at least in my world, people are thinking they're realizing that we can disagree and we can have our heated. No, you're all wrong. No, we can get our fingers and beat our chest and everything, and then the next day, hey, did you hear this track or something?
I feel like it used to be that way, though.
Well, it used to be,
yeah.
And then we kind of went through a dark era, and I hope, maybe I'm just being humanistically optimistic, that it's hopefully coming back.
I hope so, too.
Everything with the identity, all that crap, I think people are waking up to how ridiculous it all is.
I think people are finally... In a weird way, I keep wanting people to go crazier and crazier because the more you call somebody a Nazi, the less power that... I mean, it's kind of a bummer because you want that word to have power.
Sure.
So because there were real Nazis.
When that really happens somewhere, you want to be able to deal with it. But by calling every Republican a Nazi, your little old ladies, in trailer parks Nazis, it's like, you're insane. You're calling black people white supremacists. It's like, it's gone so... it's gone so surreal at this point. That you can't, you wouldn't believe it if you read it in a fictional novel. We're past 1984. 1984 was more believable than what's happening right now.
Well, the difference is 1984. Hold on just a minute.
1984.
And this is another kind of little sprocket. 1984 happened from the government down.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing happening a lot of these days is from the street up.
Which is worse.
Which can be worse.
It's worse because the Gestapo lives next door. People are controlling their own speech. They're controlling their own neighbors without the government even having to do it. People are self-censoring.
Yeah, and I got into a thing about the whole Nazism thing the other day, and so I said, this is not, it's so ridiculous to use the analogy of 30s Berlin. And a buddy of mine says, well, okay, it's not 30s Berlin, it's more like 20s Munich, and we're in the early stages and it's originally going to go there. And I said, well, that's kind of even more ridiculous. You're using an analogy that's working against you because in 20s Munich, fascism wasn't coming from the Kaiser or the Reichstag. It was coming from people out on the streets, policing each other, breaking windows, doing vandalism. Who's doing that now? Okay, here's
Antifa.
Here's your 20s Munich.
The so-called anti-fascists are the most fascistic group in the world. I feel like it has to end, but I really feel like these algorithms and the way social media work, it's just bad. Especially because they're not allowing people to go somewhere else. Like when you get
the monopoly of Facebook?
Well, on Twitter, you go, okay, we don't.
Are you on Twitter? See, I'm not even on it.
I haven't used Twitter. I mean, I have one, but I haven't used it.
I don't even go on it.
I never tweet. I think it's the worst place in the world. But but when they kick people off of Facebook and they limit, it's like so they go, okay, we'll go over here, but then the provider says, no, we're not going to let you be on this place either. So it's like constantly deplatforming people. It's just like, don't you realize that the answer to bad speech is good speech? Like
or at least more speech.
more speech.
Yeah.
You just go, look, that's the way to deal with it. Oh, somebody said a bad thing to you? Well, say something back. You can say a bad thing back, or you can say a good thing back. You have a choice, but just say something back.
Yeah.
Words fight with words. Words are not violence.
You know what? And it kind of touches on another thing.
Well, to some extent, I feel like social media has made the possibility, because it's anonymous ultimately. I don't have to sit across from you
Yeah.
if I'm pissed off at you, or have it like I want to troll.
Yeah.
Or even worse, like if I want to disassemble you as a human, I can, and I think I have some fodder to do that, or some armament to do it. I can get and do it and not actually have to face you.
Sure.
And that is open.
You mean like online
I've seen
smearing?
So much shit. Yes.
Yeah, it works.
It's not even smearing. It's
You know what's
it's
funny?
Smearing, but it's also relationship-wise. Like you watch people go off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
I really think it's bad. I mean, like this van thing that I showed you guys, this singing thing, I've been doing that, and it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. I write these tender little songs that are really, you know, I've spent my whole life kind of coming up with these things. And I just pull over to the side of the road and I sing 5 songs, and I'll get a group of 30 people around me, and then I'll just cruise away.
Do you use the pulpit at all?
I never used the pulpit.
that's strictly
It's designed for another thing I was doing, which was a little church that I made.
So, but
where I
that's
was like
strictly
Boy Scouts.
visual at this point.
It has a
You
purpose,
playing in
but
the background.
it's using right now. It's for a visual.
The greatest thing is, even though all along, ironically, he is his own Joseph Schmidt.
I am. Well, the funny thing is
I'm thinking of Schmidt
I'm
sticks,
copying a lot of
skateboards.
that shit because when I got away from religion, I realized I missed that.
Yeah.
And as much as I criticized Mormons when I came here, and I thought I was so much better than them, now I'm realizing that I really prefer Mormon Utah religiosity, because religiosity in Utah is tied to the church.
Right.
And you got the church, and then you got the state, and they're separate. And Mormons want to keep them separate because the Mormons have come up against the state. They were fleeing the state, so they really want to keep the state and church separate.
Yeah.
So their religiosity is contained within their religion.
Sure.
Here, people aren't religious, so their religiosity
San Francisco?
is tied to the state. The government is their religion, so you don't have a separation there.
Where's
the same.
here?
What?
San Francisco.
Here in San Francisco.
He's a fucking Catholic. He had to become a Catholic.
Well, my kids did. I had him baptized, but that was only so we could get a discount on the tuition.
Well, you're from San Diego too.
Yeah.
So, but you
I
know,
was
do
raised
you know what I'm saying?
satanic.
Do you know what I'm saying? This, I think this theory works. Like when the state becomes your religion, there's no way to separate it.
Of course.
Well, and to
there's
build-
other considerations too. Like there's benefits from holding out.
Yeah.
In modern times, there are benefits of the Mormon church, the Catholic, whatever. If you're a church, I have a buddy in Sacramento who started a church.
I'm gonna
I forget
grab
what
it.
it's based on, but it's absolute bullshit as
Yeah.
a premise. But if you can, hey, I'm fine.
What?
I'm fine.
Okay. I thought you
Are
were.
you good? You want
I'm good. No, I'm totally good.
He is intentionally starting this church
Right.
to take advantage of tax breaks that you get as a church.
Yeah.
And has no religious affiliation whatsoever.
He'll get busted eventually. I'm starting a church. I have a 501c3. It's the 3 question marks thing. I'm wearing the uniform.
Which
But
is what is the name?
it's the 3 question marks thing is what I call it.
Really?
Yeah. The 3 question marks thing. So that's the name of it right there. But
How did you arrive at that?
I've been doing it for the last 3 decades, really.
I've seen it before, but how did you, like, what is it?
I added it when I dropped religion, and I kind of used it as a replacement for the Godhead, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. So I kind of realized that coming to a conclusion is a bummer. It's a bummer.
Good point.
It's like to be an absolutist on something. Certainty seems to me to be idiotic. Whenever you think you have the answers, that should just lead to another question. So I believe
You're such
in
a
him.
weird dumb guy. If you were dumb.
Yeah, I am. I feel like I'm pretty
You're
dumb.
super not dumb.
I think I'm pretty
But
dumb.
You'd
Yeah.
be,
I consider myself to be pretty goddamn dumb.
well.
I really do.
If you're if you've survived to this age
Yeah.
and you have a penis
Yeah.
and you pay attention to life, yes.
Yeah.
You look at it and you go, you have to, and you go, I'm dumb,
Right.
despite whatever your intellect is like.
Yeah. But so, do you miss church at all?
Fuck no.
Okay.
No, at all. Like I get creeped out. Last time I had to go was my brother.
Were you a Boy Scout?
I was a
A Girl Scout?
I was a Girl Scout. I was I was a Boy Scout. I was a what's pre-Boy Scouts? Cubs.
Cub Scout.
Cub Scout.
Yeah.
Cub Scout.
Were you a
and
weeblo?
my first outing, I was supposed to go door to door to try to collect funds for candy bars or something.
Yeah.
And I had to shit. And I was far away from my house. This is my neighborhood, but I was far away from my house. And I was too embarrassed to ask somebody if I could go to the bathroom in their house.
Yeah.
And I was like 9 or 10 years old. They would have absolutely said, of course, just go. But I was too freaked out. I ended up walking home, like trying to squeeze my butt cheeks together to hold it in, and I crapped myself, like turning the corner to my house.
Oh boy!
And that, like at that point, that was one of those moments in life where it's like, for whatever fucking reason, it's like organized shit like this is going to fail me.
Interesting. So this is a weird. That was a weird church metaphor.
Interest.
Yeah.
Or my own bowel issues. And at that point, I was Catholic. My mom died when I was 10. My dad remarried, and that's when the fundamentalist Christian thing came in to play. My grandparents were Orthodox Catholics, which is a crazy fucking ride.
Yeah.
Crazy fucking ride. Very similar to...
That's the ride I'm on.
Are you going to become an Orthodox? You have to speak in Latin, like it's all...
Nah, they gave up. They had the...
do you go to services and stuff like that?
Only on holidays and stuff like that. But my daughter is doing
So
like
typically Catholic.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I wasn't raised Catholic.
Right, okay.
I'm not Catholic.
Oh, your wife was raised Catholic.
No.
But you guys just chose Catholicism.
Well, because the church...
The churches are the coolest looking ones.
Yeah, and it's 1 block away.
Yeah.
And they've got a school. So we put our kids into it, and they're like, oh, it's going to cost you X amount, but if you're Catholic, it'll cost you minus this amount.
I love that
and we're
Catholics
like, okay, well, let's get baptized.
What
Weird, right?
Like in terms of organizations on
It's an
planet
awesome
Earth
little community, though. You know?
had-
I like it.
who have had this
Why
level
not?
of abuse scandal across
They have
thousands.
had, in fact, at this
thousands
particular
of
church back in the
situations.
90s,
How
they
is
had
that
someone they
still-
had to axe because of
But how
one
is
of
that
the
still
typical
how is that
textbook.
still allowed? That freaks me out.
I don't know. I mean, I
There's
think
no
it's
reason there's anyone else on planet Earth,
right.
any other religion, not so much, but any other, like a corporation, which Catholicism.
Well, they're
stuff like-
ubiquitous. They've got a huge footprint for one. They've got a lot of money for another.
Right, and those things both play in the fact.
Those
that
things
they're still
both play
allowed to
in.
exist.
Yeah.
So let me try to convince you guys that there's a better religion around.
All right.
So it's just 3 question marks thing, and that's what I'm doing.
I'm
That's,
in.
that's what the pulpit's for.
Joseph Smith here.
No, literally, I'm taking cues from his book because I kind of miss the religion. I think it's good for people to be involved in common cause, good common
Absolutely.
cause. But the God thing always screws everything up.
Absolutely.
So this 3 question marks thing, what the basis of it is that you are a partner in the creation of the universe. Like the universe wasn't created a long time ago; it is currently being created now.
Sure.
You are taking part of it, whether you like it or not.
I'm scared.
So
Just
it's
kidding.
what are you going? So it's about what are you going to do with that. So the way we run our meetings is we
Who's we?
well, I started this up. We were doing it for about a year with a group. I disbanded it because I didn't have the rules set down firm enough, and I was a little too loose. And you know, any good game needs a good set of rules. Any good game needs a good set of rules, and I refine them. So I'm looking to relaunch. But the idea is, you show up each week.
Relaunch.
Whatever.
I love this.
I love the big.
Here's the challenge. But here's the challenge. So I suspect that if there is any divine inspiration at all, it might come through dreams. That maybe everything you do when you're awake is so that you can dream when you're asleep, and maybe the things that you dream about are important.
This is the angle you're going with.
Yes, this is what it is.
I think
and
it's
so
quality
one
angle.
of the primary tenets is like, take time to remember your dreams. Not only that, but when you remember your dreams, write them down. And if somebody appeared in your dream that you know, you're obligated to tell them. You have to tell them.
To what?
If they were in your
Another person,
dream.
you're saying?
Yeah, if you dream about somebody, you're obligated to tell them. Say, this is what happened in my dream. You were in it. I've been doing this as a matter of...
This is your dogma?
This is part of the dogma, yes. Because there's only one way we can find out if dreams are real, or dreams are interesting, or dreams have anything. It's by conducting this. I think it's weird that Carl Jung and Nietzsche never did experiments like this, you know? But for example, when I first started doing this and using this as my dogma, I had a dream about my stepbrother. Never dream about him. It's been part of my life ever since I was 10. Dreamt about him maybe 3 times in my life, right? I had this dream about him. This is about a half a year ago. And I had this dream that I borrowed his shadow. He's this triathlon kind of guy. And I borrowed his shadow. It was cool to have this cool shadow. It was a tough guy, you know? I texted him this dream via Facebook.
If you weren't dumb, you would never have that dream.
I said, Chad, I had this dream.
How many times have you had to say that sentence?
I said, Chad, I had this dream about you. And he goes, 3 minutes later, he texts back, he goes, this is weird as hell. I just landed in San Francisco just now. I've been here for 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, that's crazy. He hasn't been here since I've been here. You know, he wasn't planning on even telling me because our stepdad died last year. There's no real reason for us to hang out. But since I told him, because it was part of my regimen, I knew that
Is this
he
what
was
sold
there.
you on this part, like bringing this into your dogma?
It's kind of part of the dogma. It's to kind of find out, like, why do we have these dreams? What are they? Do they have significance?
That situation informed that?
That was one of those things where I go, okay, that's creepy. I have this dream, I tell him, and he's just landed in San Francisco. We wouldn't have seen each other, but now since I contacted him, we hung out that day, had a great time.
That's a Gemini thing, I feel
No,
like.
no, no.
Maybe it's
Listen
a
to this.
June 13th.
But that's
Listen to this.
magical fucking shit.
Absolutely.
It is
Yeah.
absolutely magical.
Yeah.
This is what happened to me. Probably the most weirdest
I love that.
Yeah.
magical thing that ever happened to me in my life, and it's about dreams. And I think obviously there's been a lot of people, Carl Jung and Freud and everyone that have. But the weird thing is, and I'll get to this weird dream that happened to me. But I think I have this other theory that I think that in I don't know how far into the future, 200, 300 years, dreams are going to be like, they're kind of like the way that the open ocean was back in 13th century. No one really knew what was out there. No one really cared. It's just kind of, I don't really know. You just didn't really pay much attention.
I'm caring.
What about what's going on out there? There's something out there. And most people would be like, well, we don't really think about that. It's weird, but we don't think about it.
Yeah.
That's how dreams are nowadays. People go, oh, yeah. And they're going to look at us as we do about people.
Now you know what I'm doing with this. This is literally what I'm doing. I can't believe that people haven't been doing this. Like, why isn't this a thing where we consider ourselves to be divine receptors, or at least some receptor? Like, we might be cell phones.
We don't know.
You know how cell phones dial a number and they magically work? And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like insane climb policy right now. But
Why is that?
because magnets, how do they work?
Well, basically similar story to yours. Listen to what happened to me when I was in high school. My dad was a big bike hiker, backpacker. We grew up out in the desert. There was the Sierras, Mount Whitney, all that. So he used to go up all the time by himself and stay out there for sometimes weeks on end. So he was away on one of his hiking trips by himself, and me and my mom were at home. And early in the morning, one morning, I had a dream that I was up on the top of our house. This is my dream. I'm up on the top of our house, and my dad is up on a ladder next to me, and we're talking. And then all of a sudden, the ladder goes back, and he gives me this like,
Back like a
panic.
This is
Yeah,
your
like it was
dream?
falling back. This is my dream.
Okay, yeah.
And he falls back and goes, ah! And then that was enough to, you know how they do, they jounce you out of it and you wake up.
Right.
And I wake up
Who's
and I'm
they?
like,
What do you mean?
dreams. And I kind of wake up and I'm like, oh, that was scary. You know, I really had a lot of emotion attached to it and everything. My dad was falling over on a ladder. So turns out, a couple days later, my dad shows back up, and he that very morning, he took a giant slid off this rock. He's by himself.
Yeah.
It sprained his ankle, rolled a bunch of times. Lucky he didn't kill himself. Went down a mountain with his backpack on and everything. Like, and he said it happened that morning.
So that's even
Now,
creepier.
what the fuck?
That's premonition quantum shit. Like,
Yeah.
it really is, and it might be something real. That's the thing, is like, when I look at our cell phones, and I mean, even TV, go back 100, however, what was it? TV came in the 40s or the
50s.
50s.
Yep.
That's even then transmitting a picture, radio waves, cell phone waves, satellites. That infrastructure already existed. Science tapped into it.
Yeah.
It was an infrastructure that was there. These dimensions, these other, and I just go, why? They're not just there, just sitting around waiting for somebody to invent a cell phone. My suspicion is that they're already being used, and that there's a high chance that we are our own little cell phone towers that we can emit, and within tribes we could become familiar with signals. We become in tune with them. So when something happens to Jeremy, who I keep mentioning, if we're close to Jeremy, we feel it. We go, all right, something's weird. I just thought about Jeremy.
Again, I feel like if you pay attention to life,
Yeah.
which all three of us do in kind of different ways, based on now what I know about you, and absolutely what I know about you. that stuff is going to be more
Psychic?
yeah, but more like obvious,
Yeah.
right? Like and it's going to
But
happen.
the problem
more
is we can't. There aren't good enough studies. That's why this new, as the dogma for this religion is going, no, we're going to make some rules because religions are rules. That's all they are. You know, and this is rules. You have to treat your dreams as if they're important. You got to. That's your dogma. 3 question marks thing.
It's called Merkley
The
Astronism.
3 question marks thing. We called it the 3
How
question.
often do people ask you what the relevance of that is?
A lot, and then I hand them a card to my website. Yeah. But so a meeting, when we meet, what we do is we show up, and then everybody takes their. You go, all right. Put 1 or 2 words from your latest dream that describe your latest dream on a piece of paper. We throw it into a hat, and then we pull them out, and that becomes the theme for the next meeting. And everybody works on art with a partner for the next meeting. And then you come next time and you sing the songs you wrote on that theme.
Wow.
You eat the food you wrote on that theme. You know whatever you made on that theme, you come together and share. It was great.
I love this notion.
It was great for the first year, but I started out, like I said, with kind of loose rules, and then people would start showing up with old songs that they made not on theme, and they'd expect it.
Those are antiquated songs. Get them out of here.
They started treating it like an open mic night, and they got their feelings butt hurt about it. I was going, no, this isn't open mic night. This is, you contribute. We're all working on the same thing for the betterment of the world, and that's what makes it fun. If you're not really working on the theme, then the mic wasn't set up for you.
And also, open mic.
So this is defunct now, currently.
Well, it's on hiatus. I put it on hiatus because I had...
Sabbatical.
Yes, there was a certain fashionable group that got in there, and it started turning in a little bit like the cool kids. It wasn't good. This is the place where, let's say if the theme was... These are all the themes that we did over the year, right? And you get a patch, so I'm copying the Boy Scouts, too.
He's showing us his arm, which has a bunch of things like rebirth, dreams, jealousy, illusions... Suck It 2016.
These are things we drew out of the hat.
Magnificence, To Be Free, Unlikely Friendships, Synchronicity, Global Village, Siberian Bondage.
Yeah, Killing
That
Fields.
is out of left field.
Well, because people use words from their dreams, and so whatever they
those
have.
are from dreams?
Well, some of them were. Some people cheat. I'm trying to get it so people don't cheat.
Siberian Bondage. I haven't had that dream yet.
See, I hate when that got pulled out of the hat.
No offense. I would do it. Siberian.
That's like some Stalin stuff.
When that hat, well, it was a Russian woman.
There you go.
Yeah. So she was the one that did it. But I hated it when it got pulled out of the hat. I was like, I don't want to do a song or something on that theme. But then once I got to it, it's one of my favorite songs I ever wrote. Wow. So when you're making art for a specific theme, it unifies you with other people.
Yes.
Like if you go to an open mic night, nobody even listens to the other person. They're just there to do their thing and then they bail.
That's what I was going to say. Open mics are disastrous.
They're terrible. I hate them.
It's one of my least favorite.
Open mic for poetry, or what kind of open mics are we talking about?
Comedy, songs.
That's a medium that I got to get under my belt. I don't think I've been to too many open mics.
But see, this is different because everybody wants to see what the other person did. You know, you go, well, I made this. I want to see what this other person did. So people stay.
Yeah.
And so it does have that vibe of church.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, riffing on church and like needling a little bit.
Well, unlike church, it sounds like, or at least most conventional churches, there's a lot of individual productivity involved.
Well, yes, and it's also that you are the creator of the universe. Literally, you are the center of your universe. I'm the center of mine.
All of us.
Everybody is the center of their universe.
Is God. It's like negative land.
But no, that's a physical fact. You are the center of your universe. Up above you, down below you, to the left of you, to the right.
Well,
all around you. It surrounds you.
That's don't want to be responsible.
I mean, essentially, that's just Buddhism, though, right? I mean,
kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. But this is like the combination, the special flavor here is that we take our dreams, we acknowledge the fact that we are creating the universe right now, that there is no, if there is a God or a creator, there is no more sincere form of flattery than to emulate You know, imitate. So get involved in creating. Literally make the world the way you want it to be. Be an active participant in making it great.
The dreams thing alone sells me because
Yeah.
I always have music in my dreams.
You would love it.
And then I
God.
wake up and I
So
say
would
it
you.
into a.
You wouldn't love it?
I say it into a microphone, and I've got to record. I've got so many songs I've recorded that were
Yeah.
dreams.
Me too. All
I mean,
the best ones.
Yeah, all the best
It's like
ones.
fresh metaphors delivered every
Yeah.
night. You what?
I lied. I would love it.
You would love it. Yeah, you were just being a snarky.
And you wonder where is all that from? Give me another Pinot, please.
I'm not kidding you. No, it's your turn. I got to pee.
that was my last turn.
No, it wasn't. I just went and got the last round.
Boenbo's got a tiny bladder.
I know. Well, just get me anyway, and I'll get the next one. Thanks. Yeah, you wonder in dreams. You hear these melodies and stuff, and you wake up and you got them,
magic.
and you're like, well, how much? So most of the time when I wake up, I'm like, that's totally unique. That's brilliant. Of course, it came from a dream. I got to write it down. I got to play it on the piano or something. I got to record
Yeah.
it. But sometimes I realize that they're weird mashups of things that I've empirically gathered.
Yeah.
Like the other night, the other couple
But
months
how
ago.
wonderful is that?
But that's cool too.
That's what I mean. If you
Yeah.
really just go with your dreams,
Yeah.
you don't need to think of a clever metaphor.
Yeah.
Just say what happened.
Yeah.
And it becomes a beautiful metaphor. And you don't have to know what it means. But it usually, if you make it into some kind of art, it does take on. And this is where the study of mushrooms and all this other stuff, you realize that there are universal ideas that keep popping
Collective
up.
unconscious type of stuff.
I don't know if that's what it is. Who knows what it is?
Carl Jung.
But exactly. But
Yeah.
I'm saying that if we make this a dogma or a regimen, and you go, no, you have to do it. If you have a dream about somebody, you have to tell them. You just have to, even if it was bad.
I know, but can you imagine how crazy some circumstances? You think about your own. I mean, come on, you've had dreams
I've been
about
doing
other
it,
people.
though. I know, but I've been doing it. You don't have to get
Yeah,
graphic.
Aaron, this is Merkley. I hate to tell you this, but I had a dream last night that we were, butt fucking in the blah blah blah.
Fine,
blah, blah.
but
Gotta
fine.
tell him. You got to tell him.
You don't have to be graphic about it. You could always say, hey, I had a really intimate dream with you last night.
there
I'm
you
not
go.
sure what it means. And then
There you go.
what happens is you find out, later that, well, that's weird because I was just thinking about you.
Yeah.
And you start. But
in
we
other
don't-
words, you find out there's weird synchronicity.
But there's synchronicity,
Typically.
and let's say you have a dream about somebody who was a terrible influence in your life.
Okay.
By not telling them, you rob them of the lesson of what the pain they've caused.
Have you been practicing this as you preach? Have you been doing?
I've been not as good as I should.
Yeah.
Because since I've been on hiatus, I've been making a lot of excuses for myself.
Yeah.
But I have been practicing it quite a bit.
What's the? I guess my question would be, what is the most awkward dream you've had to relate to a friend?
Well, ex-girlfriend, probably. But it's been cool so far.
Yeah.
It's just like you have a dream about an ex-girlfriend, and the dreams aren't even super intimate, really, but just contacting them at all.
Yeah.
But I think it's the right thing to do because it tells them that somehow they still have value in your life.
Yep.
That something's still going on.
definitely see that.
It feels like cheating them.
You want a drink?
I'm good, thanks.
Pinot Noir.
But you know what I mean? I feel like there's a way to connect people through that. I think it's the right thing to do. It means, especially if you have a bad dream. I have a friend who,
Like a nightmare.
I even envisioned an app that you could do because, for example, let's say a person who was raped by somebody has a dream about them.
Okay.
Do you want to tell them? No, but let's say you take this dogma all the way and you go, no, you have to because we have to keep the balance of the universe together because that means something. Let's pretend
See, I
it means something.
didn't even think of an extreme situation that.
But let's pretend that it's really meaningful.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Because that's pent up. If you maybe just the act of telling them somehow gets it off your chest. That look, I'm still traumatized by this. And maybe them hearing it, maybe that's the thing that they need to go, fuck, I really fucked them up. They're still having nightmares. You know, and then they, with age or whatever, but you know, you could build a medium between that.
I completely think you're onto something with
what I'm saying?
The pragmatics of just communication, post-dream communication with people.
Just literally how society works, because your brain is telling you something. It's either unresolved or it's going, here's something. And if I pretend that that's important, if I just go, I'm going to consider that to be important, and let's see, as an experiment, let's see what happens. So far, with me, I'm just going, wow, that's crazy.
And then you put it to bed, and then, you know. And
then you do it again. But it creates, there's a certain intimacy that happens, too, when you tell somebody that you dreamt about them. It's bringing them in an intimate way, saying, I had involuntary thoughts about you.
Here's what, okay, and I'm not alone, obviously. You have weird, intimate dreams. Intimate is a nice euphemism. For it, with at least in my case. And I use
that not just sexually, but just like.
But let's say even sexually with, you have them with, and I have with who people in my own life that are platonic friends.
Sure,
women. And, you know, and then, so you wake up, you say, my God, that was wild, you know?
Yeah.
And then, okay, ring them up. I've
been texting. I type it out, because what I do is I wake up and I use my speech to text, and I just talk into my phone, you know, and say what happened.
I guess I'd have a knee-jerk reaction against perving out.
Right, but okay, so here, well, then that's why you can reword things, and you can say, you know, I had this awkward, you can say, I had an awkward, intimate dream about you, but you can say, I always preface it with, I tell them, hey, I'm doing this experiment where I have to tell people if they're in my dreams.
That is a good preface.
So, and if I were to have an app for it, the app would notify them. You'd go through an app. This person had a dream about you, you know, and you don't even have to have direct conversation with them. And you could also, you know, use your decorum, you know, to, you know, make it presentable. You know, you can tell somebody you had an intimate dream about them without going into the graphic details.
Sure.
But if they come back and ask you for them, you can decide, well, I'd rather not share them with you, or maybe that's the perfect opportunity to go, well, there's something here.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway,
I think
we don't know if we don't do it.
Yeah, I know, and I think that it's a powerful thing that's going on in the subconscious, and nobody. It's completely.
Especially when you find out it's going on concurrently, like that thing with my stepbrother. I just landed in San Francisco 5 minutes ago. Literally, I was dreaming about him as he was landing.
Right.
That's science crazy.
Yeah. Same with my dad. The story with my dad.
Yeah.
I mean, the same exact temporal time.
Right.
I mean, it's just wild. So something is going on there on some sort of level.
And how do we find out? How do we build patterns? Like, if millions of people were to just say, adopt this regimen and say, okay, we're going to do it. I'll do it too. And so everybody adopts it as a religion.
You mean in terms of practicing the whole ethic
where
of
you say,
telling people
it's important.
Yeah.
Hey, weirdo, what's your religion? Well, my weird religion is that dreams are important, and my religion requires me to pay special attention to them, acknowledge them, remember them, write them down, and then share them with those involved, especially.
Yeah.
The most important thing is share them with the people involved. Those that were in your dreams.
Aren't they wild the way they can emote? They can emote, you know. You wake up and you can wake up from a dream and you have like this joy that you've never experienced in your normal life. You know, like something happened in the dream, and it's like I know a lot of things are going on neurologically.
I love it.
You can fly,
yeah, you can do
or even just
things.
some little crazy otherwise non-event happens, but you have this connection with someone in the dream, and you have this force, this emotional force, and then you wake up and you're like, you almost feel it in your heart. You're like, well, God, you know, that was intense.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I have to keep going back to this dream with my stepbrother because, you know, he moved into my house when I was 10 years old. He was 9. We were about a half a year apart in age, and he became one of my best friends. You know, I was like, wow, you're so cool. We hung out really well, and then, you know, things go, life goes, and you drift apart, and everybody grows up, and you go your separate ways. But had I not done that, like, just that dream about me borrowing his shadow and how he was so strong in his shadow, and he's this triathlon kind of guy, you know? But, like, I didn't need to invent a compliment for him. You know what I mean? I didn't need to invent something nice to say about him. All I had to do was tell him about the dream, that I borrowed his shadow and I felt great. You know what I mean?
It's actually kind of one of the biggest compliments I think I would ever get.
That's
if somebody,
what I mean.
If somebody called me up and said, you know what,
so
I had a
honest.
dream last night.
Yeah.
It's Bo. He calls me up.
Yeah.
Aaron, I had a dream. I borrowed your shadow.
Yeah.
Why are you putting this on me? You borrowed my shadow.
No, I'm just saying, it would be, yeah.
Anyway, I think it's a good foundation for a religion.
I think so too.
really
I've never
do.
really thought about it that way. Dreams
I
are
really
a
do.
good foundation
It
for a
is-
religion.
If there is divine inspiration, it is probably via dreams. It probably comes via
Well, the whole
dreams.
thing with dreams, sorry if this has been covered.
No.
I love that this is, I've been gone for 15 minutes and it's still right.
Still going.
It's still there.
It's potent
no,
stuff.
But it's all,
Yeah.
it's still like in the same, with dreams, typically they're ultimately an expression about you.
Yeah, I think they're the most honest version of you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Despite what's going on in
If
them.
there is terror in your dreams, there's some terror going on in your life, and I think you gotta
It's a very
work
honest
with
thing to put a
it.
religion
You
behind.
gotta deal with it.
Yep.
You know, it really is about you. It's It's the individualist
Occasionally
religion.
about me.
Yeah, yeah. It'll all be about you.
They're all about the
Please.
clown.
Please.
No, I think that's that's actually a super slick, and I don't say that in a sardonic way. I mean
I
that in
do
a
too.
really that's a really freaking nice thing to
I think it's
base
wonderful.
anything, whether it's a religion,
Me too.
whether it's an ideology, whatever it is, dreams.
It's yes,
You know what I
and
mean?
then
Levels
and
of
then you
playing
take
field
that.
for
We take it to
sure.
the second level where you literally make them so important that you make things out of them. You bring your dreams into the real world and you use them. You use your dreams in your life.
Well, give me
At
an
your job.
example of that.
Well, you'd make a song, or you'd make
You heard the melody in your
You'd
head.
make a poem. You'd make a story. You'd make a comedy routine. You'd make a cake. You'd make something.
a Batmobile.
Whatever you want to make, you could even apply it. Like, let's say a lawyer came up and he said, "I'm not creative at all. I don't make music. It doesn't occur to me to even." I go, "But you're a lawyer, right? So what if?" Just because you have to, because it's your religion and you have to obey your religion. That's the whole point of a religion, is to have rules.
yes.
What if you had to acknowledge your dreams in your current daily work? What if, when you're working on a case, you had to ponder how your dreams might relate to that? That whole notion of pondering on an abstract level, even then, can open up doors that you might not have ever thought about. You know, to where you go, maybe that does relate. Maybe it doesn't.
Well, the thing I like
But I think
about
it
it
does.
is
I think it does.
The thing I like about it is it counsels you to keep that door open. What happens to us when we wake up and we had a dream and it's the craziest dream and you're like, oh my God, I was in a circus and I was fucking a bear and blah, blah, blah. Whatever, put it to sleep, get
Yeah.
on with my day-to-day
Right.
rigmarole. That
No, bring it.
That
with
says,
you.
well, what does that mean? Keep
Yeah.
it open, keep
Bring
it
it with
alive,
you.
keep it inflated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking embarrassed.
And I'm still
that dream.
I'm still developing ways that you could do that. And the thing that's fun is you can develop little tricks and rules to go, this is how you do that. Okay, but how do I, as a lawyer,
Wait. Tricks and rules in terms of
on
keeping the
how
dream
to
present
bring-
in your waking
yes,
life.
How to
Yeah.
bring the information from your dreams forward
Yeah.
into your waking world.
Yeah.
You know, how do you do that? First of all, you contact the people that were in it in some way, and you
That's-
tell them.
yeah.
And that will create, I believe it will create stronger bonds between people, no matter what, good and bad. That will create more
Even when awkward.
it will create more significant bonds,
Yeah.
honest bonds.
Well, it takes a whole way of most people looking at life. I feel like this is primordial on my part.
Yeah.
Most people looking at life and shifts the attention away from real life, what people consider to be waking life.
Right.
And that's a huge thing, right?
Right.
If you can,
Yeah.
is this accurate? Sort of.
Yeah, really. It's your subconscious is you
Right.
too.
Which that is the important thing to pay attention to.
Maybe it's more you than this you. We're dishonest when we're awake.
That's what I'm saying.
We're always
Is that-
conniving.
We're lying
We're
bots.
scheming.
And
We're
it gives
figuring
people
out
the
ways.
opportunity.
Yeah.
But when you're asleep, that shit that happens.
Au
Oh my
naturel.
God,
It's
that
undeniable.
is
You have
au
no
natural.
control. I mean, maybe you do if you're
Yeah.
if you're instructed, you can sort of control that. But it is the real deal.
I've never been able to do that. By the way, that people talk about lucid
dreaming? Yeah, I never have either.
I've sometimes, like even the other day, I had this dream that I was in a restaurant and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I know you. You opened up for Will Franken, who's a friend of mine, a comedian." And I never had, but I went along with it anyway. So I lied in my dream. You know what I
You know
mean?
Will Franken?
Yeah, Will Franklin's a friend. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool dude. But
But you have not ever.
But see, I didn't tell him about this dream. That's what pisses me off. But in my dream, I was acknowledging this policy. And I was going, remember to tell Will Franklin about this. Remember, I still have it.
Well, I do that too. And you know what? It's funny that we're talking about this because the other day, I'm going back less than a week, I had one of those, you've seen Inception. I had one of those where I was dreaming and I went to sleep in my dream and had another dream. You know, in Inception is like the levels.
That's kind of what this was about.
I've never done that before.
I've done that before.
Really? That was the first time I'd done that.
A dream within a dream.
A dream within a dream.
Those are kind of cool.
And they're very fucking telling. You're onto something. Like, this is a big deal.
But I mean, we don't even know if we don't simply. Everybody has a dream journal, big deal, but people keep them private.
I do not
Stop keeping them private.
I don't. My daughter does, and we try.
But you know,
stay
you
up to
said
date.
you write things down.
No, music. I hear riffs and stuff in my dreams, and I do that.
Isn't that amazing? Oh my god, I've had a couple songs.
It's like a potpourri
where I just go. I woke up with an entire song. I was singing a song in my dream, and I go, I created a song in my.
And the weird
dream.
thing is,
and I go, did I even create it?
Right. The weird thing is too, it'll be a whole like orchestra, 101 strings and stuff. I'm like, how am I ever going to get this down? But I hear it. I can still hear it. You know, it's reverberating in my psyche.
That's the most magic fucking shit I can even imagine.
I like this direction.
And we just kind of let it fly by. I don't like it. I think.
Well, it's dismissed.
That's what I mean. I think but why not? This is such a better religion for this day because people don't want the God dogma. We don't need it as much anymore. But to be.
Well, it's got a gnarly sheen.
You mean kind of like the patriarchal old man up in the heavens type of God dogma?
Well, here's the problem with my religion. I'll admit that my religion has some problems. And the big problem is no hell. There isn't a hell. There isn't a future punishment.
Wait, you're talking about
it's hard to get people to do things without the fear of God.
Okay, gotcha.
We can establish that
what I mean?
now. We can do that right now. I can put it in the directory online.
I think the only way you can really do it is to really just convince people they're robbing themselves. They're creating their own hell by not acknowledging their deeper, inner, unconscious selves via dreams.
Heaven and hell is now. It's Joseph Campbell shit.
Okay, for example, the lawyer. Let's go back to the lawyer idea.
Okay.
He's not creative. He doesn't want to make a song. But what if his dreams are that he hates being a lawyer? What if he brings that forward and he just goes, no, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to fucking go buy a boat and live in a cabin. I got enough money already.
Yeah.
I can live simply.
Lawyers are going to love this shit.
You know?
I think there's a lot of lawyers who actually don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Let your subconscious steer you a little bit.
I think we all, whatever our vocation is, dreams do guide us and counsel us in weird ways. If you do something, I've been scolded by so many dreams. You know, where they'll give me some nightmare of something going on, and then I'll wake up and I'll be like, yeah, that's fucking what I shouldn't be doing, and that's why my dreams were telling me that. And
what would you say is the percentage of nights that you remember your dream waking up?
Probably very little. Like, probably 25-30% for myself.
Like, remember at all?
Yeah. And I'm not even.
I found that it varies from 0 to total depending on my behavior. If I'm in the mode where I'm going, dreams are important, if I'm in this mode that I'm in right now, then I make a conscious decision to wake up slowly, grab that first thread, like what was the last thing I was thinking. If you can grab a little bit of it and you start talking about it or writing it down, it unravels and you can get the rest of it.
How do you choose to wake up? I get that part, but how do you choose to wake up slowly?
Well, it's kind of hard. That's what I mean. It's like I get in modes, like I'll have phases where I'll get good at it. I don't.
So here's what happens when you have kids. They just jump on your head.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
And just know I would love to be able to wake up slowly from cranial impact like that.
But you could still control your behavior. Let's say your kid was, because training, the church would teach you training.
Yes,
you go, how do I deal with that? And you get hive mind and how do they deal with that?
Oh,
but
sure.
One of the things I just think of automatically is like when your kid jumps on your head, remember the first thing I have to do is tell my kid my dream. So you got to go, stop.
Oddly enough, and this is a true story.
Yeah.
When Axel, who's our 4-year-old, when he jumps up on my head, which he has a weird propensity for doing, like a body slam me, I'm still sleeping, he's up earlier, and he's a little tiny kid. At the same time, it doesn't feel good when he lands on your head. I always ask him,
what'd you dream?
How was your dream life like? Like, what happened in your dreams
Perfect.
last night? And it's crazy. He knows Axel. You would love this kid.
Yeah.
He is not a normal kid, like in terms of how he processes life.
Yeah.
Part of it is that my wife birthed him herself, which I feel like figures into his whole weird intellectual capacity.
What do you mean she did it at home?
She's a nurse. And
good. Yeah. She did old school.
She wanted to have a home birth. And the
cave birth.
What's it called?
Did she squat?
Doula?
Did she squat?
Or she squatted. That's how you do
Nice.
it.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. I keep doing that when I'm taking a shit. Like I'm going to squat.
That squatting probably doesn't work for me very well.
Doesn't happen. Doesn't work.
No, squatting is actually the best way to take a shit.
I know it doesn't work for me.
It's primordial.
But it's interesting hearing how he expresses dreams, like because he didn't used to. It just happened recently where he as a 4-year-old, I used to ask him, I asked him for like a year, how are your dreams? There's nothing there. He's like, I don't have any dreams.
Yeah.
His voice is higher than mine. Why are you looking at that?
I'm listening to you.
But you've trained him to kind of like
Because try to pay attention.
Pay attention to them.
Right?
See, and that's what I mean. Like, if you learn from a young age that they are important, if you just say, well, we're part of this religion where we believe that our dreams are the most important part of our life, or they might be, so we just train to do that. I don't know where that will go. I don't know. But what a wonderful experiment.
Well, is that trail been raised at all?
What?
I don't think it's been. Has that trail been
I look, and
some psychoanalytic circles,
Carl
people
Jung talks about it. Freud talks about it. Nietzsche talks about it. But nobody's ever conducted and said, let's do this as a thing, as an experiment.
To me, the beauty of this notion is that it takes the power away from regular life and what the common perception is supposed to be. Right?
Yeah, right.
It's really
puts it in your own head, like. Pay attention to that, first of all. Pay attention to those dreams.
Yeah.
And also, my wife turned me on to this whole idea of how my ex-wife had dreams. She had books on it. She interpret it, which I think is also valid.
Yeah.
But my current wife, which I've only had 2 of, this is like her whole thing is this is, and I'm not sure where this is coming from. This is a reflection of you.
Not
you. I mean, if whoever's dreaming.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be cool if it was all from you, though.
That would be really weird.
That would be super weird. Where when you put in that context, her and I love the fuck out of each other, but we also have gnarly dreams where we're betraying each other, and that, in our real life,
it's not uncommon.
We don't betray each other at all. We have a very.
But isn't that wonderful? Like, if you were to tell them about that, you could go, okay, so there's this weird thing we might need to work on.
That's what I'm saying. It's
it's an indicator. It's just okay, work on this, and that honesty I think is great. It's so weird because we live in a world where people pay shrinks to listen to this shit, when really we probably ought to be sharing it with the people that matter, which are the people who are in those dreams.
The shrink thing to be.
People always wants to wedge themselves in the middle somewhere.
And the crazy thing is, it's the last frontier. It's the last frontier. It's an intimate last frontier.
Yeah.
It's all of our intimate last frontier. I mean, there's no.
Okay, I've only had my dreams gone unanswered once. And that was I had a dream about somebody.
What do you mean unanswered?
I had a dream that about somebody who I don't like. I know him in the world, but I don't like him.
You're talking about Lee?
No. And I had a bad dream about him. How did you? But no, it wasn't him. But I told him about the dream. Honestly, a bad dream about him, and I didn't get a response. But it was only one. But it was a negative dream. You know what I mean?
Did you get into the gory details, or was it kind of politically correct?
I kind of toned it down and said, I don't remember the dream right now, but it was like, you were doing this, I was doing this, and it didn't paint a rosy picture. You know, it was like a conflict picture, right? He could have, if he wanted to, gone back and go, yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I've had weird feelings about you too, or something. He's not the type of guy that would do that.
Yeah.
But I feel good that I got it off my chest because it was an unconscious way to go, look, I feel this way about you.
Well, I think
regardless.
Dreams don't lie about that shit.
I think you're onto something by just telling people.
Even if it cuts the cord.
It kind of like just gets something out into the air.
It's a perfect excuse, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm giving an excuse. It's like, I have to because it's my religion. Like, I'm doing this thing where I have to. You got to respect that.
I've got no choice here.
It's
my religion.
What a wonderful excuse to do shit.
I love that.
No, but I mean, I think there's something more genuine, and I think there's a lot of integrity in saying that you communicating out what your dream was to somebody is in itself.
Oh, it takes bravery too.
It takes a fucking humongous balls. I'm sure.
And that's what I mean. I haven't done it all the time. According to my own dogma, I would be a sinner because I only do this probably 50% of the time.
I
Well,
can't
but
imagine.
should also
yeah.
be
Well,
fundamentally accepted.
of course, but you realize that the goal is to do more.
Sure.
You know, get pushed to do better. You know, up your percentage. You know, first you maybe only start telling people about your dreams 10% of the time, but then maybe you get to a point where I'm 100%.
The beauty of this religion, the beauty of this religion is that you can't feign honesty in this.
No.
Like a dream, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's it.
It's so pure.
And that's a beautiful
I mean,
thing about
you'll
dreams.
get assholes that will make up dreams.
They're out of the church. Excommunicated.
But how do you
now.
prove it? I mean, the only over time will you know. You know, you'll
I'll
just
take
say,
care of that.
"Oh."
I'll take
Because you could easily go,
Portuguese.
as a member, you go, I had this dream about you, and then you could make up some weird poetic thing to try to get in good with this or that person, you know. But there's shysters everywhere you go, and they ultimately reveal themselves.
They do.
Yeah.
If you pay any attention.
And you do,
shysters.
you do just like churches would. You'd interview people, and you go, have you been lying about your dreams?
And you raise your eyebrows.
You did, Larry.
Yeah, Larry David. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
And you'd pressure people into telling the truth. Like, don't lie about your dreams. You're not going to gain anything.
Eyebrows are powerful that way.
I don't want to lie about my dreams, but goddamn, I would have a time admitting some of them. You know what I mean?
But you know, I think if this was a normal thing, though, the culture would grow and we'd realize everybody knows that dreams are weird like that.
I mean, in a weird way, you're right. In a weird way, you're not responsible for them.
It's not like, it's not like you're going to tell somebody that's never had a weird dream in their life. They're
Yeah.
Like, what? How dare you?
There's nobody's.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's, but there's the taboo if you're revealing certain interiors of your subconscious
the beauty of the whole
that
Listen,
might be desires or.
We gotta get out. You know.
Yeah, I do know. I don't think we do. I think we're actually free for the night. Usually there's another party coming down here and we've got to like turn it off early. But I don't think that's the case tonight.
You know, my own relationship with my mom has improved because of this.
Really?
Because, I've had bad dreams about my mom. Like, we have really, because of the Mormon thing, she kind of kicked me out of the family when I was more objected to Mormonism. And so I've had bad dreams about her, and I've never told her about them. But now, recently, I tell her about the dreams, and she's surprisingly receptive to them. And sometimes a little apologetic, about something like, I can see how that would be. But it's an excuse to make contact. If nothing else,
I think it's, I
make
applaud it. It takes a little bravery, and there's a little bit of awkwardness.
And you're not going to succeed every time. You're going to chicken out a lot.
Or you're not going to succeed in really getting through to the other person. They might think you're
but
weird.
You'll learn. And you'll learn. And maybe that will be the severed tie.
Yeah.
You'll find out who can handle that kind of communication and who can't.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a great way of signaling possible tribal connections, whatever. Who should be in your life, who can handle those dreams, who can't,
Yeah, that's true.
So, say you send a weird one off to somebody you barely knew, and they don't respond, you go, you might not have ever seen him again anyway.
There's so much of that too.
But they have that information now. At least they know. No matter what, it's a gift to them. No matter what, it's like, if it's honest, and you can't lie.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm affecting somebody's subconscious. I'm appearing somewhere.
I'm affecting somebody's subconscious.
Admit it, anytime. Have you ever had somebody tell you that you were in their dream and you've been bummed about it? No, you're always, there's a flattery there.
Yeah.
It makes you feel important.
My wife and I have had that.
I'm gonna
that time.
Oh, well, that's true. You guys.
Like, it's weird. Like, we're super.
It's weird when somebody gets mad at you for something you did in their dream, but that's a real thing.
It is absolutely a real thing. Like, there'll be times where she has a dream where I'm
a dick,
unfaithful to her,
right?
And not even unfaithful. She'd ultimately be better off with that than if I'm mean about it.
But
I will never
but
be
if she
unfaithful
tells
to
you
her.
about it, what a wonderful opportunity it is for you two guys talk about it.
Right.
And to go.
And that's what's cool about it.
And for you to
That's why I like
either
our religion.
it gives you an opportunity to analyze your behavior.
Yeah.
And go,
for
am I
sure.
contributing to that?
Yeah.
You know?
I have those dreams sometimes about her.
Yeah,
also.
exactly.
Like, I wake up and I just had a dream where she was discarding me, sort of, whatever, like sexually or socially or whatever happens to be.
Right.
And wake up, and the crazy thing about dreams, obviously, is that when you come out of a dream, all the sensation of that dream is super close to you
Tangible,
right when you're
yeah.
coming out,
Still tingling, yeah.
but it drops off quickly.
Oh, like wake up crying. Sometimes you wake up crying.
I did that the other day.
Yeah, it's just like,
about
wow.
her, actually,
Yeah.
and I was super bummed out about it. She was being a complete cunt to me about the whole
Yeah.
life, and she is a wonderful woman.
Yeah.
You know, so this is all me manufacturing shit in my head of my own insecurities about
Sure.
stuff. And I woke up crying about it. Powerful shit.
But sharing it is probably good.
That's huge.
Yeah, especially that's why it's like rules are great because sometimes we don't do things without a rule. If you got a rule, you go, okay, well, I got to obey the rule.
How often do you do things without a rule?
I do a lot of stuff. I'm pretty productive, but I benefit from deadlines. The whole reason, one of the main reasons of setting this up for every Monday was to give myself deadlines. Like if you go every week and make a new thing every week, whatever it is you're making, painting, song, whatever, at the end of the year you got 52 things you made.
Right.
You got a whole portfolio for fuck's
Are we
sake.
talking Gemini right now?
Yeah.
It's a very,
Or anybody to anybody. I think it works for
well,
anybody.
but it's also,
Yeah.
the Geminis I know, Lee, Mike, Vladimir.
I keep thinking you're talking about another Lee. You're talking about Lee Roswell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know him very well.
What?
He lives down the street from me. I don't know him very well. I like him. He's a nice guy, but I don't
The
know him
painter?
very- Yeah.
I thought you guys were tight.
No, we're we're friendly,
idea.
but he's just my neighbor. I like him. I have a
He's
positive
a fucking
opinion on
amazing
him.
dude.
Yeah.
And he's very honest about his life too, which I like.
Plus, astrology's bullshit. You know that, right?
I have never wrapped my head around.
That's kind of the
actually
religion
any
I grew up
significance
in.
to the whole thing.
Really?
Let
Yeah.
alone-
Or you grow up like hippie, dippy kind of stuff?
Hippies taking acid, going camping, talking about their moon is in Saturn's got a hula
Do
hoop
you pay
on and all that
attention
crap.
to
No, I mean, I looked into it and then I realized it just kind
Yeah.
of, you read into it what you want.
Yeah.
They're vague and like they're not specific.
But like any religion, I guess, except for dreams.
Because literally, it is real.
There's an
They literally
empirical
happened.
foundation there, a phenomenon
That's
that is
what I think.
happening.
Yes, it is actually
I'm sold.
happening.
I'm a devout. I'm ready to go
Do you
kill Sharon
as
Tate.
a religion starter?
Yeah. The founder.
Do you have a sexual end game associated with it?
Yeah, like a David
A sexual
Koresh
endgame?
kink.
Sexual end game.
Oh God, no, no. That was one of the problems with the thing. Is like it became the 3 question mark thing is a weekly thing. Some people came in, they kind of were using it as kind of a hookup joint, which isn't the worst thing.
What? People are using your dream religion as a hookup joint?
Well, it wasn't. Well, by the way, I have to be clear here because listen. I have to be clear here. The first iteration of it wasn't as dream heavy. It was more. It was more maker heavy, like making things.
Okay.
You know what I mean? At first we called it.
Despicable.
But like I said, it's like now I've narrowed in and got more of a set of dogma. And you have to have that. If you're going to have a church, you have to have some doctrine, some rules. I'm trying to keep it really simple.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm making progress. You saw I got a van with a pulpit on it.
Exactly. I'm going to trust that the sabbatical is actually.
I love the fact too that you listen to the beginning of this thing. You expressing your experience with the van, having a giant sound system, and a giant piano.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's a super regular sound system. And
so what we're splitting hairs now about sound systems?
No, not at all. But I like the fact that it has that effect.
Yeah,
it did. It did on me.
It is a normal sized piano.
Shit. Yeah, it's absolutely normal sized.
I think
it's funny that it keeps
it sounds pretty good though. I got a 15-inch subwoofer.
The
18-inch subwoofer.
The speaker on the sides were distorting. Just so you know.
Oh, they were.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling me that. What side were you sitting on?
I was on the right.
Oh, okay.
Got to fix those side fills, Mark.
Thank you. I actually ask people for information like that, and they usually don't provide it.
I'll absolutely provide it.
So I just got to turn it down a little bit.
Probably, yeah. But coming out the back.
I heard a little distortion in my headphones too, so maybe it's somewhere in the path. I'll figure it out. But thank you for that feedback. Yeah.
Sort of.
So
the speakers coming out of the back that you have mounted on the doors, crisp.
Oh, okay.
Like super crisp and oddly bass righteous.
Well,
you don't
that's
have a
because
subwoofer.
no, I have an 18-inch subwoofer.
Where?
That I installed in the piano.
Oh. Okay.
The piano was an acoustic piano that I gutted and fiddled with a digital piano and put a big 18-inch subwoofer in there.
It's underneath the piano?
Yeah, inside of it. I built it in the cabinet. That's pretty cool.
So what is, this is one of my little weapons of choice. Where is this all going? And let me preface that. Because I hear you, at least in social media, talk a lot of shit about being here in San Francisco, and a lot of things you bring up, I can't blame you.
Yeah.
And I am, in agreement with and empathize with. But for you, where do you think?
I have been looking to sell my house and to buy a building that would be church-like, either a church or an open place, because I would really like to have a regular meeting place where people could come.
Well, no, but we're talking in San Francisco or what?
Here or otherwise. It's probably smarter for me to sell here and go somewhere else. Where my money will.
Your money will go a lot further somewhere else. Yeah.
I've thought about that, but honestly, right now, my parents aren't getting any younger, so I've been thinking about Utah a lot.
Wow.
I really have. But I've also been thinking about San Diego. Because San Diego...
Why San Diego?
I want to go back to a community where there's more balance. Right now, in my district where I live, I moved, let's put it this way, I lived in Provo, Utah. The reddest neighborhood of the reddest state in the union.
Yeah.
I moved from there to San Francisco, the Lower Haight, which is the bluest neighborhood and the bluest
culture clash
city.
Yeah.
No, it literally is out of the pocket.
Yeah.
And there's so much. Utah is way more tolerant, by the way, of diversity and divergent ideas than San Francisco is. There's no tolerance.
Sacramento.
Not one person in my district, including me, voted for Trump. That is not diversity.
You didn't vote for Trump?
No.
Wow.
I voted for the Libertarian, like I always do. But not one person voted for him. That is not diversity. That is uniformity of thought. I want to go somewhere where there's I want a 50-50 split, because people have to acknowledge each other's differences when it's like that. Living in a bubble is not good.
It's like this friend of mine who moved to Palm Springs recently, and he's gay, and he moved down there, and but no. Palm Springs has got a big gay community too. By the way, it's not like moving to Provo, Utah, or something.
A lot of gays in Provo.
Well, okay, with gays everywhere. I mean, percentage-wise, there has to be, right? I mean, but
Utah is
anyway,
actually the big gay stop.
But culturally speaking, Palm Springs, it's not really like, it didn't seem like some big step for him. Obviously it's down in the desert. But he comes back after like 6 months, and I'm like, "Oh, how's it going down there?" And the elections, everything. And he goes, "Yeah, there's a lot of the old, Frank Sinatra kind of culture and everything of Palm Springs." But he's like, "You know what? It's weird. I've been living up here." He's from Santa Cruz, lived in San Francisco for like a decade or so. He's like, "I actually enjoy living amongst all these different political people way more than I like living in San Francisco."
It's better. It is better.
He's like, "We have differences and everything, but we talk and everything, and I feel like I'm not in a bubble, and they're different."
But at the same time, to me, that's disappointing.
Why?
I feel like it used to be different, because I've lived here for a long time, and it's shifted over to a place of placidity that's like...
You think San Francisco has changed?
Yes. Sacramento, there's this cultural cool thing. I grew up in South San Jose, where it's like black and white, half and half in our community.
Multi-ethnic.
And Sacramento is way more into that. San Francisco, which you would expect to be like that, is super not like that.
There's a diversity of skin colors, but that's not the diversity I care about. What I care about is diversity of thought.
Yes, of course.
And
but
ideas.
It's also it's important. They're related.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it doesn't happen here where it happens in New York, which San Francisco and New York I feel like are kind of related in that respect.
Yeah, sister cities.
What should happen diversity-wise, and it's a bummer that it does not happen here.
Well, San Francisco is not nearly as ethnically diverse as New York City, first of all.
Of course not.
Yeah.
But it's also way liberal than you'd expect from a liberal standpoint.
Yeah.
Which I'm not.
Honestly, when I picked San Francisco, I was looking at it, I felt like, a misfit in Mormon, Utah. In Mormon, Utah, I felt like a misfit. And I liked that San Francisco seemed like the land of the misfit toys, I thought, I'll go down there. All these other misfits will just have this great misfit party, and we'll be like anti-bully and it'd be great.
Yeah.
But what I realized is here, have you ever seen that movie, Welcome to the Dollhouse? Todd Solondz?
Yeah.
I feel like San Francisco is that movie a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like the bullies picked on these kids, and they came down here to get away from the bullies, but then they just became the bullies.
It's collapsing into that.
They just became the bullies.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that's not the idea. When you get bullied, you're supposed to go leave the bullies and go, let's don't be bullies.
But you're saying, how long have you lived here?
21 years.
That was not That was not the case when you moved here.
Kind of was. When George Bush got elected, it turned that way. George Bush, those years were like, oh, I had to zip my lip and keep my mouth shut because they were calling him Nazi too. You know what I mean? It wasn't nearly as bad as Trump.
Well, and they had a lot better reason to call him Nazi than they do to Trump. We were actually invading other countries.
Well, fair enough. But they weren't. But anyway, they weren't doing it as much.
Yeah.
So and then Obama got elected, and there's 8 years. I could just go fine. When their guys in charge, they just shut up and they go out raving and snorting coke and doing E. Whatever.
Never heard of it, but I'd like to try.
They don't even talk about politics when their guy is in charge. But now that Trump's in, it's just like the constant screaming.
Do you like Trump? You don't
I have to admit, I didn't vote for him, and I was I was skeptical of him, but I have to admit he is surprising me in many ways, and pleasantly so.
Here's my whole thing.
I have to say that.
Here's my whole thing about Trump. Obviously I didn't vote for him.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of levels he's got a super narcissistic, weird, infantile personality.
You know what? He's a San Franciscan at heart. Let me explain this. I'm telling you, this is what people don't understand. Where did he put his money? Hotels, beauty pageants, game shows, restaurants, casinos, golf courses, TV shows.
This is his wheelhouse.
Look at him. He's orange. He wears makeup. He's got the hair of he's a drag queen, for fuck's sakes.
He is.
He is as close as a San Francisco weirdo as we will ever have in the White House.
That's true.
He's married to an alien sex worker. For crying out loud, people in San Francisco, if he had a D behind his name, would be cheering in the streets. Yay, a weirdo! Yay, a weirdo! He's a weirdo. He's an entertainer.
I completely agree.
That's where he put his. He doesn't have his money in the war machine. He's no Dick Cheney.
No, we're not invading anybody.
We're
not invading anybody.
What do you mean?
His whole life is invested in your vacation.
Well,
he wants your vacation to be fine. Your resort, your luxury.
Well, here's the thing, and I totally agree with you about that.
He's a gay man. Look at his apartment.
He's a gay man?
Look at his apartment. All those gold, the gilded columns. You go to the Castro and go to your favorite queen's apartment. They have the same apartments, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, you're right.
There's this marble, faux marbling, real marble.
Well, here's my
He's an eccentric.
Here's my main battery criticism of him. I agree with all that. I think that he's way more harmless and then a lot of people are all jacked on hysteria about. But I just wish that he would put out like a cigarette butt on a lot of that by contending. He could put out so much of the division in this country by just saying, and he's too kind of infantile for that. But he could actually just say, like, look, man, you guys are tripping. I'm just this person who builds hotels,
and
I build.
But people don't listen.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think he tries to. The people that hate him no matter what.
But my point is, that's true. But my point is that just a little nudge on his part, he did it one time.
He will never do that nudge.
He will never do it. I know, but I'm just saying if he could just do that one nudge. He did it one time before he was elected. There was some fundraiser for some Catholic priest, and he had to sit next to Hillary. They were sitting together.
Right.
And he made some jokes and everything.
They had the jokes written for them. I remember that. Yeah.
And he was so personable. He was so like.
But he is in real life. People all say that about him.
He's totally personable in real life. Yeah, he's actually a very nice guy.
He has charm,
he's funny. He has charm. Yeah. So I'm thinking, just turn that on a little bit for the don't go into the schism of like how you're so mad about everything.
I think he does, and you don't see it. Like, I'm obsessed with Trump. I have to admit, I'm obsessed with him. Like the news media is obsessed with him. I can't. Like, I watch every speech. I watch the whole thing, the actual source. That's why I get so upset with the media, because when you watch a speech, the entire thing, and then you look at how they report on it,
and they
take it, and you go, "Oh my God, you're directly lying."
They fuck him. Yeah.
They're like directly lying. Go, because I watched the speech. You can go, "You're lying about that."
To some extent, yeah.
I'm skeptical of him still, but I have to admit that I love how he's turned everything upside down. I love how the system hates him.
Let me suggest this. The way I look at life is that you have, in a relationship, for instance, right? You have a relationship, and you could be fucking like crazy, and it's awesome sex, whatever. There's certain elements that you like about it, and there's other elements that you don't, and you put it in a scale, and it drops one way or the other.
Yeah.
So the stuff that he's doing well, and the stuff that he's not, in my like outside of the media thing, like I go deep too. I'm not into the
Yeah.
media immersion of what people throw at you.
Yeah.
Like the thing that the amount of stuff that he's fucking up outweighs the amount of good that he's bringing into it, and that's my main problem with him.
Yeah.
Like he's
That's a valid point of view.
He's disabled a bunch of shit that, regardless of him at all, or constituency, or what he's trying to do with himself, he's like he's not nice.
I mean, maybe the way I look at it is I go, maybe he's the right guy at the right time, just to shake it up. I mean, the thing is that people are talking about things that nobody ever wanted to talk about before.
You're right.
As a libertarian, we always wanted to talk about the deep state. We always wanted to talk about this. We always, nobody would talk about it. They just say you're a tinfoil hat, whatever.
Sure.
And now everybody, when he decides he wants people to talk about things, he figures he knows how to make.
I don't think he's consciously doing.
Oh,
that.
I do.
No, he's not.
You have to read his book, The Art of the Deal. This is all, he lays it out. He manipulates the press.
But he didn't write that book, Merkley.
Yes, he did. He had a ghost writers don't write books.
All right.
They're like glorified secretaries. They listen to the thing and they put a secretary spin on it. He wrote the book. He literally outlines exactly what he's doing. He tells exactly how he manipulates the press.
Yeah.
Like he literally just says, this is what I'm doing, this is how I do it.
Well, he's
This is how I
definitely
do it.
good at that.
And he's been doing it.
Yeah.
He's gotten all this.
My thing is,
if you can do that, that's cool. But
Yeah,
at
my
the
thing
same
is, I
time,
don't-
the distortion, and I love the fact.
Is it good or is it bad?
I
That's why I
fucking
don't
hate
know.
that dude. I fucking hate him.
Yeah,
I hate him.
okay.
Like I would kill him in a heartbeat.
All right.
In a heartbeat.
You're gonna
Because I
wanna
think he's a
edit that
bad
out.
human- No, that's fine. He's a bad human being. At the same time, his catalytic converterness, what he's done to people, like paying attention to what's real in life, has been a huge.
I don't think he's bad. Like I just don't think.
he's bad.
I don't think he is. You look at his kids that
I don't think
love
he's
him.
intentionally bad.
His family loves him. The way they adore him.
Who gives a fuck?
Well, I do because
No,
first
I'm
of all,
saying if your
I don't
family
think that many
the
people.
Caesars loved each other.
I see Trump's ego as being America's greatest asset. Not his greatest asset, our greatest asset. He wants to be known as the greatest president ever lived. There are certain things you're going to have to do to accomplish that. And most of them are going to be things that are going to benefit America eventually. You know, so letting him run with that ego going, God, I gotta be the greatest. What do I gotta do? So look how quickly, like Kanye goes to the White House and says we need prison reform. 2 weeks later, Trump is going, prison reform.
Again,
He's delivering it.
great, but it's,
You know,
it's
and
like
you just
piecemeal
go-
shit. The shit that he's doing
I
wrong.
think ultimately, like what's something?
absolutely disastrous.
What would be something that'll be wrong?
Well, here's my thing. I
we don't want to get in the minutia.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think that he could actually double his game and go into the big leagues with things if he just kept doing that, but actually just every once in a while turned and gave a little, we're humans. Everyone needs a little bit of like solace and this and that. If he just turned, and that's what I was talking about the dinner earlier, he did that with Hillary before he was elected. If he just, instead of being a little bit so infantile about, oh no, you took my crayons, and that's how we view him, and it's like, just kind of turned a little
that's
bit.
kind of what I'm thinking too. It's like I feel like the stuff that he's
I think
doing
he
that
would
might be
actually,
positive is
he'd
accidental.
kind of like win a lot of people over and think like, this is not, he's not so bad.
If Hillary hadn't existed, if he didn't have to beat Hillary, he's smart enough to know that he had to beat Hillary. He wasn't going to beat Hillary in the Democratic primaries.
Yeah.
There's no way he was going to get the nomination over Hillary in the Democrat. They would have done away with him like they did away with Bernie, right? So he knew that. So that's why he switched to Republican. He ran before as a Democrat, and he ran before as the Ross Perot Reform Party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's always been a Democrat. If he would have had the opportunity to run as a Democrat at the time, he probably would have done it. And I think, honestly, not to demean the entire population this much, but I feel like if he had a D behind his name, people would look at him differently. They would just go, oh, he's an eccentric. We like him because he's a Democrat. He's a D behind his name. A D. A Democrat. Yeah. If he ran as a Democrat, people would see him differently.
No, fucking no.
Well, okay, hold on. Let's, now that we're into the whole trench of politics, let's fast forward to.
I think we're getting
are we being overran?
Probably. But that's good. We don't want to talk about politics around here.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, I like to. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
another room of life. It's an arena. You know. I guess.
We're gonna leave it for next time.
I guess I think what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're being overran by another party, and as much as we are infinitely enjoying
border has been
Merkley,
breached.
which we are, I want to. Do we both want to have him back? Yes. Merkley.
I'll come back anytime.
To be back on the podcast. Yeah. Yeah, that's not a real question. Yeah. So, but it looks like we have got to shut things down
Yeah.
because
A dance party has got to be.
yeah, we got Gooks in the wire. Charlie's in the wire.
Thanks for having me on, you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Good conversation. I like it.
I like his story.
I
Thanks.
know, he's got some good ones. And he's got a lot more, and I want to hear more about it.
I do.
We shall talk in the future.
Next one.
All right, kiddies. That's the end of this thing, and we shall see you on the next podcast episode. From myself, Bunham the Clown, and Merkley,
Bye.
over and out.
None of y'all can get with this, and none of y'all can get with that. Hit I just dropped, cause you know it don't stop. Mr. 187 on the undercover cop. Tick tock, now what I got you some. And I rock for your ends, and I kill them blood blocks. Then I step through the vault, and I creep through the small, cause I'm so doggy, 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 doggy.